walk these streets with diamonds in our eyes. Out with the vampires under a midnight sky. My mind so hypnotized. It was exciting. It was the 90s. Mama didn't understand it, and Daddy always said that I was going too far. Said there's never any compromising. If you try to win the battle to be who you are. I dance to the left, I dance to the right. Hold hands with my demons and creatures of night. On an undercover mission to find somebody else like me. Is there anybody out there? Is there anybody out there? Someone who can hear me and drink from the light, to see things from the same side. Is there anybody out there? 5 years later, I'm out with the same old faces and dead end places. Things kept going wrong. I'm getting to thinking my daddy was right all along. So if you take a little walk on the wild side, be careful that you never slip your hands from the wheel. There's never any compromising when you're blinded by reflections from the part of you that's real. I dance to the left, I dance to the right. Hold hands with my demons and creatures of night. On an undercover mission to find somebody else like
What's up? We're here. We made it to Thursday, my friends. We have made it to Thursday. The week that does not stop giving is what we should call it, because wow, what a week it's been. I mean, we're crossing over for sure. I mean, there was a, in the beginning of this week, we were like, all right, this week's going to be good. Documentary drops. And, oh, is it as impactful as the not the Kino Casino, the Sidescrollers interview? Well, we're sure as hell there now because it feels like a much bigger thing now than the Sidescrollers interview at this point. But don't worry, we're going back. We're going right back to Shawshank. We're going back to the interview today to tell Craig, I hope we're going to say I'm sorry. But I would be lying to you if I said I'm confident that's going to happen, if you know what I'm saying. But we'll see how it goes. Business style, schedule style segment here. Tonight, we're back at it with the last night, the final night of the DSP. Debunking DSP's debunk streams. We can put this subject to bed. Tonight is the night. And Detractor Beam will be in the house. Tomorrow, no lore stream. I need to sleep. So, that being said, though, we'll be live 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we will try to cover all the things, the most interesting parts of the debunks. And, of course, we have to add everything that happens today. So, we'll see if we can do it. I'm not so sure, but we'll try our best. So, how are we going to spend our time until this shit show starts? Well, first I want to say thanks to Movie Sign. He says, Craig deserves an apology from the lying pig roach. Well, I have a few clips ready for us here to see if you're right, Movie Sign. Spoiler, you are, but, let's try to get a little sense of tension in the air, right? That's what I like to do. A little suspense in the air. Because Punish Lasagna says, I lied to your face for 5 hours and then slandered you and your co-host for 18 months, but I demand an apology. I don't know if he can do that. I don't know. Even Philip. And it feels like the admission last night was telling us, the world, that he's not going to do that. Because if he was going to take that stance, I don't think he'd admit to WB champions last night, right? And since he did admit that, I don't think he's going to say, I need an apology today. I don't think so. But obviously crazier shit has happened. I didn't think he'd talk for 40 minutes about how he's not down for the Raptors anymore, but yet I did spend a fuck ton of money. You know what I mean? I don't think I'd hear that last night either. I also didn't think I'd hear that Philip defending the slapping 11-year-old on the internet. I didn't think I'd hear that last night, but we did. I didn't think we'd hear how all autistic people are crazy and scary either. He didn't say those exact words. I want to make clear of that. But if you saw the clip, you know what I'm talking about. I didn't expect to hear that. I heard that yesterday. So who knows what we're hearing today? We'll see. Big ups to the one, the only, Salute Your Snorts says, new song dropping in like an hour, gonna be hype. Big up, Salute Your Snorts. If you get in time, send me the link and I'll play it at the end if I have time. I have a hard out today at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I got to do the very serious business of all the coaches of the roller hockey rink for my kids. We got to make the teams. And let me tell you, it's always funny because there's some dads that really want their kids to be in the best teams, And what I do, I'm a normal human being. I want the teams to be like even, That's my goal. But some of the dads try to get their teams on the best teams. So then when I notice that and I pick that out, like I know who it is now. My only goal is to make sure their kids get on the worst teams. Like I instantly make that my goal. And I don't do it directly. I do it very sneakily. Like, well, I don't know. Let's say Philip's really good. I think he could really help out this team. I really try to do it sneakily because it just pisses me off because it's like for nothing. So if you kind of make it so fucking serious, then, yeah, I'm very passive aggressive. Yeah. Yeah. ALT the Petty. I'll take that. I'll take that to my grave. Well, tonight I'll tell you how it went because we're streaming again tonight after the meeting. So I'll tell you how it went, if I was successful or not. Meth Bear says, Phil only takes, never gives. Dunce. Hell yeah. Big ups, Meth Bear. Aloha Snack Bar says, your coverage of this shit show has been top tier. Big ups to chat. Big ups, Aloha Snack Bar. I didn't know if it was going to be a good idea to do it. I'm definitely glad I did it. This every night thing, because now we have this archive of, if you want to see the debunk, there it is, and I'm glad that's done. I do need a break though, don't be honest. Yoda Hall says, did you catch the fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on re clip that DSP dropped? I did not, Yoda Hall. Give me a link to that. I want to see that though. So let's go real quick before we get into the nonsense here. So Philip posted this. DSP confesses everything about TJ Gamebox in the house. Not to put you on the spot, but I'm putting you on the spot. Respond to Twitter, please. Respond to Twitter, please. But DSP confuses everything about WWE Champions. So let's check the comments, right? Let's check the comments. Let's go to top comments. And they're all negative towards Philip. There's, of course, some Keno Casino bros trying to defend it. And this is this weird thing, this weird... I don't know what's the word to call it, situation we're in now with the Keno Bros, where they have to defend their boy, and their only way to defend their boy is to say, well, he's not as bad as other bad people. But that doesn't mean he's still not an asshole. Even the Casino Bros recognized that Philip was still an asshole that was horrible, and they made fun of him multiple times, right? But now it's kind of like, well, we forgot about that, and we just hate the detractors now, so we'll support Phil for that. But it's like, all right, I mean, is that really the own you think it is? When even your own boys were the ones making fun of Philip in the first place. So, all right, and we're taking L's all over the place. Us detractors here, who we took the error of we took the TJ Gamebox, then I have to decline. I want all the boys on that one, TJ Gamebox. But we'll wait for it. Whenever you're ready, we're ready, TJ Gamebox. You are a legend of the highest order. But I wouldn't want to wait to get you on the deep. That being said, I don't want to steal the exclusive for the main show. But you're a legend, don't forget it. But it's like, we have the crime of being detractors of saying, hold on, defending a pedophile is pretty fucked up. Hold on, begging fans for money for years while piggy begging, that's true too. Piggy begging to save the house, to crush the taxes, to avoid lunch meat sandwiches, that's pretty fucked up. So if that makes me a dent tractor, well, hell yeah, where's my dent? I'll sign up for my dent. You know what I mean? But it's weird. It's a weird thing that's going to happen, and it won't last forever. But anyways, there's some good comments here. There's a lot of long ones that are, putting it out. The most liked ones are the most rational. Like the argument that Keno Casino brought up that no one should care about how you spend money since it's your money at the end of the day would make sense if you didn't go through almost a decade of alarming your audience with pleas that you needed money just for bills. Correct. Not going to read all that, but yes. Phil, I'm sorry, but I don't believe that you sold your account. Maybe I'm wrong. I just don't think it's very likely, all things considered. I also don't think anyone else believes it, detractor nor fan. So if it is another lie, what's even the point? Are you ashamed of how much you spent? Good question. Going the moral suasion route. That's a word above my knowledge base.
Burger King.
The moral suasion route, while having a deplorable moral track record, is definitely an interesting choice here. Good on you for admitting it, even though it just means you were lying for years. But the main problem was never that you were addicted to a mobile game and kept putting money into it. It's the condescending way that you ask for money from people, guilt-tripping them, and all. Meanwhile, your money problems were all your own doing. It's a very bad look. But hey, the admittance of guilt is the first step in a redemption arc, and I'm not one to rub salt in a wound. A lot of rational people in the comments here, huh? Weird gambit here. I'm not sure how this makes anything better. You'd be better off sticking with your original story. Agree. Actually, I do agree with that. Honestly. Big ups to Sukasa for the membership. And Aid Robertson, big ups to being said. Well, this week has been awesome. Thanks for everything. Aid and Becca, thanks to you. You're a legend. Yeah, but these are just detractors. There's the dirty detractors. Get out of here, all right? Next up, a few quick things here. I can get rid of this. This is my favorite screenshot ever. This is Snood's best work. Snood's career work. This is his best. Finding this screenshot and pausing it here. It hits harder like this. Yeah. That's the best. It's like always laugh. All right, well, let's go to chronologically here. 3 weeks ago, a video was uploaded to the internet entitled Keno Casino versus Sidescrollers, DSP Feltsam. So remember, the title was Keno Casino versus Sidescrollers. I'm not sure that's exactly the situation here, but let's see what he's talking about. Come on.
Or great stream. Last night, I was on the Keno Casino show.
Uh-huh.
And it went horrible. Those guys are terrible. They treated me awfully.
Sorry, skipping the bad
This
jokes.
actually was a good show because it was entertaining. Because instead of just asking me a bunch of intrusive, fucked up questions for no good reason, they actually had real conversations with me. They asked me about my takes on stuff. They asked me about other, things in the industry, gaming, right? They asked me about my history as a YouTuber. Of course, they asked me about my detractors and stuff. They asked me about everything.
And they also asked you about the incident, and for your expert opinion on that, they also played you a clip of Ethan Ralph calling his wife a horse. They did a lot of stuff that interview. Very cool, very chill and cool and interactive.
Thing was, it was a great appearance because not only was it that, but we also went and we watched clips. And I don't know about these people that these guys watch. I know nothing about them.
That was let's just say a very curated clip montage they had ready for you, don't you think?
Right? But then getting to see the stuff that they watch all the time and everything, it was really neat because I was like, wow, I feel like I'm actually like a part of the show, which is all I ever wanted. When I was going to be on the Sidescrollers last year, that's what it was supposed to be. And then they turned it into this fucking 3-ring circus detractor sideshow interview so that they could get a ton of money out of my detractors.
Detractor sideshow interview that afterwards he said was extremely fair. Go ahead.
Because they were greedy fucks. That's if they had just been fair with their intentions.
Okay.
It would have been fine. But instead,
yes.
they turned it into a way for them to make tons of money over these months because they wanted to be toxic. And that pisses me off because that was supposed to be an opportunity for me to have an interview where I could clear the air and people were supposed to be objective rather than subjective.
They were objective. It's just the shit you spouted wasn't a good enough evidence for them to believe your lies. And they actually were proven correct. Interestingly enough, they didn't believe the lies, and they were proven right to do so. But, okay, keep going here. Keep going. I want to hear your full thoughts here. I don't want to take anything out of context.
And instead, because they put their opinion in saying, oh, we don't believe anything Phil said in our interview, so fuck him and let's make a lot of money.
Though they were reading super chats that they made during the interview. Just want to be clear about that as well. Just don't want anything to be taken out of context here.
Immediately, everyone just says, well, Phil's a scumbag, right?
You had 5 hours to convince them that you were not a scumbag, and yet you failed to do that, and then later, a year later, they were proven right to believe you were a scumbag. Go ahead.
Interviewer themselves comes out and says, oh, I don't believe the person we just interviewed. That's, of course, going to have a negative impact on the person.
Oh, my God. So we're just supposed to say, I believe it? So if Barbara Walters interviews OJ and says, hey, I didn't do it, I couldn't do that, that wasn't even my car. I do believe OJ. That excuse is bulletproof. Yes, he did not do it. I believe him now. What?
How the fuck they didn't understand that?
What?
Going to have a negative impact on the person.
Uh-huh.
How the fuck they didn't understand that? That would be like if Barbara Walters...
So OJ's defense was stronger, actually, to be honest. The gloves didn't fit.
All of her epic old interviews, she used to get all these exclusive, huge interviews for TV. Imagine Barbara Walters interviews someone who's a hot topic, a world leader, or a celebrity, and then she has this great, supposedly objective interview with hard-hitting questions.
Which you described as very extremely fair.
At the end of the interview, you're supposed to judge for yourself what you believe or don't believe. But imagine if, not even 24 hours after the interview, she came on a show the next day and said, man, that guy I interviewed yesterday was a real piece of shit. He answered everything with a huge lie. I don't believe a word he says. So now the entire interview is skewed one way, and no one's able to objectively decide for themselves.
Whose fault is that?
What they think, because you were the interviewer and you now have a formulated opinion. You can't do that.
You can't do that. You just have to believe the lies without questioning anything. And it is all very funny after last night, isn't it? Because Craig and Adam were, what? How do we say it? What's a good way to say it in song form? They were right.
That's called hack journalism. That's called an actual targeted attack, a bait and switch. That's
a targeted attack, a bait and switch. A who's a whatsy, a who's a galore, a rigmarole.
Exactly what happened.
What else? How many words can we stuff in there?
With me, with
a targeted attack, a bait and switch, a reach around, a Cleveland steamer. Just say words. A kangaroo court, a bamboozling.
Strollers last year, and they used that to propel themselves to some kind of popularity. All right. So now that I've actually had a fair chance to appear on a show, I'd like to tell Craig and the Sidescrollers, go fuck yourselves, you disingenuous pieces of human fucking shit. I hope you fucking flush yourselves down a toilet and never climb the fuck out of the sewer that you live in with your drama politics show that no one gives two fucks about. All right.
Just want to remind everyone that Sidescrollers podcast averages daily 2,000 viewers. But yes, no one gives two fucks about no one gives two fucks about it.
Thank you guys for liking the stream today.
And 150 likes? What the fuck? Oh my god! Thanks, guys. That was the fastest ever. But by the way, let's just not forget it that Philip loved the show before he was on. Remember? That adds a little wrinkle to this. Like, he loved the show. He watched the show before he went on. But all of a sudden now.
Right? Why don't you go fucking suck on Melody Mac or whatever the fuck the new hot topic is today with your bullshit drama? No one gives a fuck about you and you'll never be relevant. Now fucking choke on it.
Is that a felting or? Suck on Melody Mac. All right. Well, we are doing it. We are sucking on Melody Mac here. Now let's go more recent, I thought. We might as well get more recent, right? I want to get all the context here. That's what we want to do here at WPIG here. So this is 7 days ago, if you can believe it. It feels like 10 years ago, but this is 7 days ago. Let's get Phil's take on the Sidescrollers 7 days ago. Let's go.
There was the detractors were building this lore about you for a decade, right? When you went on there, they kind of had to hit you with everything. Because if they didn't, it would be like, I cannot believe you were the only guys that had access to DSP and you didn't ask him about this receipt. And you know what I mean? They kind of had to do that. And then also that interrogation stream had to happen to open the gateway to Keno Casino to be a more...
So Keem is defending Sidescrollers, by the way, right here.
...friendly environment because all that other stuff was already covered, right? And all those hard questions have already been hit. So in a way, I feel like that was almost necessary.
Okay. And I actually agree with you.
But let me tell you how I don't agree with you, though. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Philip said it's going to start soon. I'm not late. I'm here setting up. The stream was scheduled for 2 o'clock. I'm not sure what world you live in, but that is actually late. So you can't really say this if it's past 2 o'clock when you have a stream scheduled for 2 p.m. Okay, let's go.
I guarantee you've never actually heard what I actually have issue with. It's not the interview.
Oh.
I was totally okay with that interview. After the interview, I went on my own stream and I said,
yeah, just a joke.
That went as well as I think it was going to go. I knew they were going to hit me with all those questions. I had given them permission beforehand to ask me all those questions. Okay. My issue with the Sidescrollers is that after that interview, they had said the next day they were going to do what they called a decompression stream. They were going to play Mario Kart or whatever because they knew it was going to be so much drama. They just wanted to unplug from the drama for a day so that they could just kind of calm down and then get back to normal.
Yes.
The agreement was, after that interview, we were supposed to talk and they were supposed to have me on as a real guest. So what happened on Keno Casino was actually supposed to happen right after my Sidescrollers interview. What actually happened was they changed their schedule so that that day after was a shit on Darkside Phil with his detractor session while we received donations to do it.
Incorrect. Fact check on this one. They received so many donations during their interview that they decided to not read them during the interview. And remember, they were going at the beginning of the interview. They thought they were going to read them at the time, but they got so many that they said, "All right, guys, really apologize here. We're going to read your super chats the next day." They said that on the stream, right? Philip was there when they said that, It was not some bait and switch situation. It was, hey guys, we got so many super chats, we're going to read them tomorrow. So it was not collect money, even though they did that day as well. It was not a collect money session. It was a reading super chats we received that day session, which, if they had chosen to read all the super chats and Philip was there, would have easily added an hour, 2 hours to the interview of not questions, which is kind of the reason you're there. And you could argue that would be wasting Philip's time. So Sidescrollers did Philip a favor by not reading super chats while he was there, and this is how Philip decides to talk about it now.
Shit on Darkside Phil with his detractor session while we received donations to do it. And I was like, wait a minute, when did I agree to the shooting gallery? Like, that never happened. That's the equivalent of someone.
When did I agree to the shooting gallery? So do you have to agree to people giving super chats and having messages? That's what you have to agree to that? Big Ups Vikes says, thanks for the whole week, ALT. Made it tons of fun. Big Ups Vikes. Jay Wusso says, he talks like a 5th grader. Whoa, so tough. Yeah. And doubling down on the 11-year-old abuse or threatening abuse. ES says, I volunteer for the Melanie Mac job. Okay, ES has volunteering. I will let her know you volunteer. Arlong says, didn't you take PTO? Do you need to get up early? Oh, yeah. Why do you need to get up early? Oh, because kids got to go to school, brother. Arlong. I got to help. Come on. Do you sleep at all? Dude. 3, after the show ends, take a nap. Went to sleep, excuse me. Take the kids to school, and it's nap time again. I'm feeling good. I'm wide awake.
Someone like Barbara Walters, a high-end, journalist, interviewing someone that's a hot topic, asking them tough questions. And then the next day she goes on a show and says, wow, that guy's a piece of shit. I didn't believe a single thing he said. And then, by the way, all the people that don't like that person are paying her money for sponsorships behind the scenes and shit for saying that stuff on this interview. So that's what I'm not cool with. And then
Barbara Walters, famous for accepting super chats on her TV show.
I did talk to them after, and they were like, oh, no.
That'd be funny, though, to do an AI. Okay, I'm here with O.J. Simpson. Oh, no, we have a few super chats, O.J. If you don't mind, Juice, I'd like to read a few super chats here.
We don't want you on the show anymore because we don't believe you. I was like, wait, what? Like, that wasn't the agreement. It was supposed to be.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Right in writing, they said, we don't trust you anymore. We just think you're a liar. This isn't kosher, so we don't want to have anything to do with you anymore. But now, listen to what happened after.
Okay, here we go.
My detractors gave them so much money for a couple of streams, they realized, ooh, this is the money train, right?
Uh-huh.
They kept trying to get me on the show again after the fact, because they wanted the money train to continue. So now I'm like, no, fuck you guys, right? You treated me like dirt the next day. Then you canceled what we were supposed to do.
Treating me like dirt means reading super chats and not believing his lies, which all proved to be lies.
I'm not going to give you any more time. This Stuttering Craig kept fucking talking about me on his show. He had a whole stream monetized the detractors where they came on his stream and gave him money to shit on.
Haters.
And then he emailed me for months. Will you play Street Fighter 6 with me? Craig, you don't even fucking play fighting games. Why would I play Street Fighter 6 with you? I don't want anything to do with you anymore. Like, don't you get it? He was like so desperate for more attention for a series of months after. And then finally, I think he got the message, except I got another email for him back in February. Will you be on our 1-year anniversary show? No, Craig, I don't want to be on your fucking show. And that's the last time I heard from him.
Okay.
So
there we
that's
go.
the true story. I don't care about the interview. That was expected. Yeah. It was the follow-up that was so poorly done. And think of it this way. That interview, it was just done, and then they moved on. People would watch that interview and be like, well, I'm going to judge for myself now whether things Phil said are legit or not. Maybe he's lying. Maybe he's telling the truth. And people would have their own, judgment.
And if you did not believe Philip, you would be correct. Okay, go ahead.
Instead, when they went on their show the next day and crapped on me all day, every single person who saw that interview is going to be like, well, if the interviewers don't believe him, we're not going to believe him either. So fuck them.
Right.
Right? And that's what happened.
I didn't
See, so now Keem does not care about this story. He's trying to move on here.
know that. But also, I can see them, like almost 99% of all YouTubers still doing the same thing Sidescrollers did. Because they're just adapting. Okay, a lot of people hate DSP. Now let's bring his haters on. We're going to make more money. We're going to get more views. I mean, it's just, unfortunately, that's part of the beast with the business, right?
Get it, Philip? Keemstar does not agree with you.
Yeah, right. Okay.
This is a great example of Philip not caring what the other person says and then just saying, okay, moving on. Watch this. Yeah, you're right. Correct. He didn't agree with you, Philip. He did not agree with you.
Because they're just adapting. Okay, A lot of people hate DSP. Now let's bring his haters on. We're going to make more money. We're going to get more views. I mean, it's just, unfortunately, that's part of the beast with the business, right?
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah, right. Okay. Anyways, you've completely dismantled the point I was bitching about. Okay, right. Moving on. Nice. Already is on now. Oh, no audio. We're going to get the... He's not doing the songs anymore. I think it's kind of embarrassed of him, I imagine, with these new attention on him. The new bros. He doesn't want to have the shitty songs on anymore. Because I am not muted. The slideshow is rolling, but there is no songs anymore. I could do it for you anyway, though. I got thugs on the floor. Thugs on the floor. Put the thugs on the floor. Whatever. I had one more good one here. Let me see. Okay, I got that ready. I had one more Craig clip I thought was funny. It's a little bit long, though, so I don't know if I can get it all. Here we go. Here we go. This is a good one here. I'll play it as long until he comes on. We might not get to listen to the whole thing. Just bear in mind, we might not be able to finish this whole thing. Here. This is a funny one as well, to get you ready.
Tonight's late stream was me and a 2-hour special stream on DSP Reacts, where I revealed that the entire thing was essentially a setup from the get-go.
A setup from the get-go.
That Craig and company had only been exposed to information about me that was from my detractors. They literally did not ask anyone on the positive side of things about anything. There was no,
he said, Craig, if you remember correctly, Stuttering Craig said, I want to hear from everybody, DSP fans and detractors. No fan of DSP spoke out, except for the one person that spoke out while I was on a phone call with Craig the night before the interview. It was someone saying, don't do the interview. He was some kind of, I forget what it was. I said it that day, but I can't remember the guy. He said he's a part of some organization, and you're going to ruin it, Phil, if you do this. And he said the email during that. I can't remember. Supercuck. Yes, it was Supercuck. Confirmed. Yeah, and he said an email to Craig, and he got that while we were talking. And he read it, and he's like, I don't know what this is. This is weird. So that was the one person. Detractor Palace, correct. That was the one person that spoke up for you. So really cool. Really cool. The one person that sticks up for you is that person.
You know, they didn't ask fans, nothing. It was just, let's listen to the detractors for 2 weeks and ask Phil the detractor questions. And that was it. That's not a fair and balanced interview.
All of a sudden, it's not a fair and balanced interview. Interesting. You said to Keemstar it was. You said after the interview it was. But now it's not a fair and balanced interview. Man.
2 weeks and ask Phil the detractor questions. And that was it. That's not a fair and balanced interview.
Okay.
So I revealed that to everyone. Because Craig emailed me with information proving that. That's nice, you know. So anyway, you know, we talked about that. I reacted
to the
podcast
correct.
from the morning. It lasted about 2 hours.
He must have misspoke on that one. That wasn't misspeaking. Oh man. Is he on yet? Here we go. Here's some more Craig stuff. I just want to get you all the Craig lore out of the way here. Well, the things we said in the last year about Craig, just because we are about to interview Craig. It's good to get the full context, right?
Up in bullshit. Did I tell you the story? I didn't tell you the story.
Oh, please.
I'll tell you a brief story because you'll get a good laugh out of this. Okay,
we're getting ready to laugh, everybody.
Stuttering Craig tried to contact me in June. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Now, keep in mind, I want nothing to do with him or the Sidescrollers ever again. I already made this abundantly clear. I'm done with drama. I want nothing.
That's funny.
Nothing to do with any of this. I'm done with it.
That's
right?
funny.
I want nothing to do with any of them. I just want to do my own content for my viewers. He contacts me. He says, I want to do my viewers told me I should do a challenge set. You and I should play Street Fighter 6 together. And what'll happen is you'll play it on your channel and I'll play it on mine.
Yeah.
And we'll have our own viewers support us during the set. Now, I don't play Street Fighter 6, but if you want to do this, I will practice, and then we'll do this big hype set against each other.
Interesting, because this is the exact same thing you pitched to LTG. Is this where you got the idea? Because we are pre-LTG at this point, as you can see from his gamer shirt.
I'm not kidding you. He actually sent this request to me. And I'm sitting here, and I'm reading it, and I'm like, this has got to be the dumbest motherfucker I've ever experienced in my life.
Oh, the dumbest motherfucker I've ever experienced in my life. Copeside Phil says, hopefully he'll tell Craig what he really thinks of him. I mean, it's not like Phil's a coward or anything. Oh, definitely not. Definitely not.
Not said time after time. I want nothing to do with them at all. I'm done with them. I moved on from drama. I want nothing at all. And I'm reading it, I'm like, just seriously think about this. All right? I'm not a
That was kind of funny how I worded that, right? You must be the dumbest motherfucker I've ever experienced. What do you know about experiencing motherfuckers, Philip?
Street Fighter player, first of all. But I have a background in Street Fighter, right?
Okay. Good morning, everyone.
Okay, there we go.
Welcome to the show.
Okay.
I am here, and I just need to do a couple fine-tuning things before we get ready.
Fine-tuning.
The big... Well, it's not really an interview. It's more like a conversation.
It's more like I'm going to yell at him, but he can't yell at him anymore.
Stuttering Craig. So I welcome you all here to DSP Gaming and to the Level 1 podcast. Of course, very different than the standard style of podcast that I do. But I think it's necessary. With everything that's been going on this last month.
You mean people giving you more money than usual?
It makes sense.
And you're lying?
For me to be doing stuff like this, right? I feel as much anyway. Like, you know, last week we had Keemstar on here.
Ooh, careful.
And the two of us squashed our beef. I cannot see my other monitor. This stinks. Like, I want to look. Where's the mic? Hold on. Here. Yeah, where the hell's the mic? Oh, here it is.
My God.
Okay. Want to be sure everything's working in Discord. I think it is. It looks like everything's working in Discord to me.
Do you still have the Brock Lesnar picture? Or?
We're going to start shortly. I'm going to come on camera in just a second. I just need to get the stream chat opened so I can see all of you. But I'm going to lay the ground rules down before we get Stuttering Craig on here today. But the whole
ground rules are I'm not going to pause and there's no ads, I guess. And also don't super chat nasty things about Craig. Get ready for it.
Idea is that this is going to be just like the interview with Keemstar last week. Two of us are going to talk like gentlemen. We're going to hash it out. We're going to figure out exactly what went wrong last year when I was supposed to, you know, be a part of the Sidescrollers show. And go from there. All right? So, hold on. So, here's the stream chat. Let me get this popped out.
Like, look at this chat. Look at this chat from Philip's chat. I'd argue that our murder and sexual assault on a minor are and other things YouTubers have done are worse than lying, but we all have our own moral codes, I guess. You have options of who to support, and you could actually choose people that don't do anything bad. You know that's an option, right? Or do you not? I'm not sure you do. Do you?
I did not want that to go full screen, but it did. Try that again. Are.
That's true. I do that. Yes.
Here. All right. So let me come on screen. I'm gonna look weird because again, this is through Discord. Okay. Hello, everyone. I know this looks odd.
Craig
the
in the
colors are kind
background.
of off, and it's only 30 frames per second. Discord will not allow me to use like the high quality stuff. Like I can't even go 60 frames or 1080p on Discord. I think this is like 720p. I looked into it. Reason being, get this.
Yeah.
Discord makes you become a subscriber of their Nitro service or whatever it is, and you have to do 2 months of that to get 60 frames. Then you have to do like 6 months or something like that to get 1080p. And I'm like, how about I just get it because I'm under Nitro? Because I am. I got Nitro and everything.
Nice.
And it doesn't do it for me.
Spending that
Maybe
cash.
I'm doing it wrong or
Is
something.
that true, by the way?
But it says server boost,
It was
stuff
never
like that.
before,
I don't
right?
know what the hell that means.
Server
so anyway,
boost. Yeah,
maybe I'm
burst the
wrong, but I
server.
couldn't figure it out.
Philip, burst some servers. Boost some servers. It makes your quality better. Boost a few servers.
Do it just like the show last week, all right? Where Craig's going to be coming on here in just a few minutes, and we're going to be talking back and forth like gentlemen about
servers.
last year. Now, I got to say this stuff up front.
Big
all right?
ups.
By the way, today is September 9th, or excuse me, September 5th, 2024.
Okay.
My last streaming day of the week here. And that means tomorrow is off. I'm back on Saturday. So here's the ground rules of today, because we already got tons of people on the stream and more are joining, and I want to make everything abundantly clear. All right. Number one, yes, this is a normal stream for me. It's a work stream. However, I'm going to
I'd like to know about your non-work streams, Philip.
treat Craig with respect and dignity because he's giving us our time to be on the show today. What this means is there will not be any pop-up messages appearing on the screen for contributions. This means I will not be addressing the chat or anyone contributing or shouting anything out during the course of me talking with Craig.
Gotcha.
My undivided attention will be on Stuttering Craig because he's giving us his time, so we treat him with equal respect. You understand? Now, after our discussion is over,
I will read my super chats.
and you might say, well, how long will it take? Basically, I told him about an hour to an hour and a half, just like Keemstar. Like, I foresee us having things to talk about for about an hour, hour and a half, roughly. And then he's got to
Gaming
be out.
segments,
He's got to
I will be so out.
When our discussion's done, then I will shut down Discord and the stream briefly so I can go back to my normal setup here that'll look much better. And then I can hang out with you guys and have this decompression session where we talk about everything that just happened.
Read super chats.
And I
making
feel like we're
fun
going
of
to have a lot
Craig.
to talk about.
That'd be
I'm going
fun.
to do shout outs for all contributions at that time so that we all get a chance to chat about it. Now, I'm going to say this, all right? Much like what I said with Keemstar, I'm going to say this again, all right? This is not a target practice session on Craig, all right? I'm well aware that Craig
disclaimer.
has people who like him and people who are critics of him. I know this, okay? This is not about that. This is not, hey, I don't like Craig, so let's come to the stream and let's just crap on him all day. That's not the point. That's not who I
He's
want.
trying to be the bigger person. This is what the Sidescrollers didn't do. So he's going to be fine when he does his decompression reading the derogatory super chats towards Craig.
I want to be. I want
Sound
to build
good?
bridges. I don't want to sit here and be a bully on the internet.
Starting to
right?
make sense?
So that's not the idea. If you're here for that,
Big ups,
you know,
Tony T.
don't expect that after Craig's gone that we're going to sit here and have a bullying session against the man. That's not going to happen. All right, you're definitely in the wrong spot. If you saw the Keem content and interview from last week, it's going to be of a very similar vein of that. That's what you can expect here on the Level 1 podcast.
Well, you certainly
today.
hope so, won't you?
Okay. Also, I'm going to leave this stream up as an archive stream in its entirety so you can watch it all back in one chunk if you want. Or I'm also going to split it up. Like I'm recording right now, but I'm going to end this recording and do one separate video for the Craig portion of the stream. Then I'm going to do another separate recording for the decompression. And you could choose to watch whatever you want. All right? It's up to you. You can either watch the whole archive thing or you can just watch the
Thank you so much,
separate
generous
videos as well
king.
after the fact. Okay? So
I'm recording this.
it's that simple. That's what it's all about. There will be no surprises. There will be no shocking twists. There will be no gotcha moments, and there will be no shocking
You told us enough about the gotcha moments last night.
guests showing up at any moment to scare people. All right, seriously.
That you agreed to have come on your show. So now we're just getting the things out of the way that he thinks Sidescrollers did to wrong him, even though all of these things, Philip said it was a fair interview. Sound good?
Like, I mean it. That's not going to happen. That's not my intention. That's not what this is about. It's about having a cordial, respectful conversation with each other about what happened last year.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get to the bottom of it because here's the thing. I have yelled on my content. Craig has yelled on his content, and we yelled.
Unfortunately, he has not done that. Craig has never yelled on his content. So that is unfortunately not true. Okay, let's move on positively.
Back and forth at each other from each other's content, but that doesn't constitute
When in
a
doubt.
conversation.
Big
It
ups.
just constitutes two sides of something that happened, and it's not the truth of the matter. My perspective probably isn't fully true, and his perspective probably is not fully true.
Actually, it was,
Okay?
and proven to
Now,
be true last night.
This
Thank
is
you.
a normal work stream for me. So if you do support the stream, thank you. My intention is that we keep that king streak going by hitting the tip skull, that I'll be able to shout out all of your contributions and things that you'll be doing during the course of this after Craig, is done and we move on to the decompression session. So thank you in advance to anyone. Already, I can tell you, I'm already receiving tips. Thank you for that. But I'm not doing any shout outs or anything like that until after Craig is out of here. And in fact, just to show that good faith, I'm getting rid of this.
What?
Okay? That doesn't need to be on the screen at all right now.
Oh, thank you for the
And-
good faith. Thank you so much for the good faith,
And yeah,
Philip.
let's all be respectful of the man while he's here and
Thank you so
and
much, Philip.
let's get this done. This is a big part of everything going on right now. I think you guys understand really at this point what's been happening in the last month and a half with me.
I don't actually.
Last night during my live documentary reacting to the June the King documentary about myself, I revealed the truth about WWE champions for the first time ever. Like literally everything I had said about it up to that point was a lie. It was the first time I had ever spoken truth about the situation. And already I can tell you there's fallout from that. I've had a couple people contact me behind the scenes saying that they're incredibly hurt and crushed that I lied and all this stuff. And, you know, that's what it's about, is you got to face the music for things that you've done wrong. And I did for years lie to my audience about stuff.
And also Craig for 5 hours.
That's already over on the DSP Reacts channel. You could check that out right now if you haven't seen it yet. But that's the whole point is let's get through all of this stuff. Let's finish it, because I am ready to fully move on to the next chapter of my life.
What's that?
I am. I'm ready. And even if that means fessing up and you know, some people are going to be like, nah, I don't forgive you because of this and this. I get it. But this all needs to happen for me to finally advance, you know? For me to pass level 1, which, I mean, let's be honest, people are like, you already have.
No,
but for me, I feel like...
Let's be honest, people are, you already have. Then why...
Dumb bitch.
Like I've been
What a dumb
perpetually stuck in this one spot for a very long time. And the only way that I can get out of this spot is to essentially move past the baggage. And that's what we're trying to do. My hair has been sticking up like this for 3 days.
You maybe take a shower? You know, showering helps.
It's bothering me. This right here, this patch has been sticking up for 3 days and will not go down no matter what I do.
Showering
and I don't
helps.
use hair gel. Usually it's not an issue. I don't know. Maybe it grew out in a weird direction or something.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's
it's
fine.
stupid. Why do I care about how I look, right?
Showers
I'm
are
dumb.
overrated anyway.
All right, this is the final countdown. In just a minute or two here, I'm going to get Craig on the stream. And we're going to start our interview. So just, again, to make this perfectly clear, the chat will be open. You can talk. But I'm not going to be looking at the chat at all during this interview. All right? It's not my job to be talking with you guys right now. I'm here to talk to Craig and respect his time. Okay? If you contribute, thank you. This is a normal work day for me. And I would appreciate if you did. There will be no pop-ups on screen and no shout-outs until after the interview is done. Okay?
It's the final countdown.
So if you're sitting here screaming, hey, sup, Phil, you're not going to get my attention because I'm not going to be responding to you. I'm going to be talking with Craig.
I could go all day. All
right? All right. I think that's enough. I think I've prefaced it fair enough. And now, of course, the views are about to jump, I'm sure, because Craig's about to jump on. I hope I do this right. Apparently how I did it last week, I did it wrong. Even though the show worked with Keem, I made mistakes. So I'm hoping I do it correctly this week. You see my screen off.
I got 30 seconds of skip juice. I'm going to use it. He's
and
not
then
there
go
yet.
for here. Let's hold on.
I want to be live, and we'll do my best not to pause on this kind of stuff.
All right. Stuttering Craig. Already. There it is. I got to get up and walk to my desktop PC to open the call. Then I have to run over here and sit down before he jumps on, or he's going to be looking at an empty chair.
Whose fault is that?
Because I can't do it from here because I have dual screens and I can't see the fucking Discord screen from here. All right, hold on.
Oh my god.
I think I've done it.
Okay.
But hold on.
This is the first day on the job, guys. Give him a break. First day on the job.
On screen.
Don't forget that.
Now, how do I invite him?
Oh my god.
Hold on.
Discord is tough.
Oh. Hello, sir.
Hello, how are you?
Whoa. Oh, we cannot. Can anyone hear Craig? I cannot hear Craig, so let me see. I got technical issues here.
God, great stuff.
Can you guys hear Craig? Because I can't hear him.
Oh my god, dude.
No? Okay, hold on. Maybe he's muted. Going to figure this out.
Great.
Hold on.
Oh god, Philip. Careful now, Philip. Philip's gonna fuck something of this up at some point. You just know it. He can't not. Philip! There we go. Good thing you got him on before you were ready and stuff. That was a good idea. Oh,
you guys can't hear him? Craig, I cannot hear you. We're not sure what's going on.
We're not
it's
sure.
Not showing.
You sure we're not sure what's going on?
It's very odd.
Or you don't know what's going on.
Not playing audio through Discord either. Like it's not showing you talking at all. As if your microphone's not
Check
working
your
in Discord
output
right
audio,
now.
brother. Click the
See,
gear
if you were
icon.
talking in Discord and it was working, the border around you would turn green. See how it turns green on me?
Philip.
Let's try that. Is that better?
There you are. There you are. Cool.
There we go. I don't use Discord very often. So
it's all good. You probably used it more than me, and I've made a million mistakes with this thing too. So
definitely down from the rafters.
Two boomers, right? Trying to use technology like that.
Boomers.
Yeah, right. All right. So first of all, I think if I can make you a little louder, let's see, because
Here, hold on, I'll turn myself up real quick. Is that better
Okay.
on the mixer board? Is that better? Check, 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 check.
how's he sounding, guys? I can hear him now. Can you guys hear him?
Okay. Good.
Good.
All right.
Cool.
Craig, by the way, for those that wondering, is 1 year older than Philip. I know you couldn't tell that from the looks, but he's 1 year older than Philip.
All right. So I think we're good. We're full screen.
Just like it feels like yesterday, Phil.
Which yesterday? When we were hanging out like 15, 16 years ago at MagFest, or yesterday when I was on your podcast. I mean, we actually have a history that a lot of people don't know the whole history. You know what I mean?
So, I mean, I guess, but at the same, like, I got to be honest, 15, 16 years, I don't remember
I know.
much of that, right? So if you say we were hanging out, then we hung out. So, I mean, we probably played a few games together, I would imagine, over the years.
I don't
yeah?
remember
Right.
it.
Yeah. And I actually, if you remember, I was a guest at Screw Attack Gaming
Not very
Convention
memorable.
in 2012, 2013. I was actually a featured guest, and I even was one of the finalists at the Iron Man of Gaming competition you had.
The Iron Man of Gaming, yes. That was so far ahead of its time, while also still being 20 years too late.
People are
yeah.
saying your volume's still a little low. Is there any way you can boost it anymore?
Come on,
Yeah,
brother.
sure. Let me see what I can do on my end. Let's see. Do.
Oh, no, he got worse than fourth place
So I
at
don't
Iron Man of
use
Gaming. I think he
Discord
was
very
seventh
often,
in the Iron Man of
so
Gaming, I
let me
believe.
kind of go into my settings here and check
Couldn't even
it
get
out.
fourth in that one.
Output volume. Let's see. How about this? Is that better? Am I volume? Did I boost me at all?
Sounds about the same, I think.
Pump him
Okay,
up.
let me change this up. Here you go. Is this little?
that I'm living with is gonna.
Uh-oh.
yell
Now
at
you're
me.
muted.
I don't even.
Great
I'm
interview,
still
dude.
muted.
Now
This
you're
is awesome.
unmuted.
Okay. Well, I think this is what's gonna have to do right here.
All
Hey,
right.
look at there's a picture of me in your background. Look at that.
Of course. I've
Wow.
upgraded, sir. Look at my setup now.
Yeah, listen, I'll tell you what. What an upgrade. Great job.
Oh, thank you. All right, so let's get started because I want to.
Oh, God, that smile. That hit. You hear that?
Great job. Awesome.
Thank you. All right,
Yes.
so let's get started because I want to respect your time. I know that you might have stuff going on today, and just to forewarn everyone, and just to preface the whole conversation we're about to have. Stuttering Craig is on here today, and thank you for your time, Craig, for being on my Level 1 podcast. To have a conversation with me about last year, what happened with the events leading up to, including, and after my appearance on the Sidescrollers podcast, because there's been a lot of stuff said, all right, on my side particularly for sure, and a lot of heated stuff I've said. Craig has responded on his content, and we never really sat down to have a conversation about it publicly. And I feel like this is the best way to do it, is to have a forum where we're just going to be cordial with each other. We're going to talk about it, hash it out, figure out exactly what happened, and figure out how to move forward from here. This is not an attack session on Craig. I've already said this right before Craig showed up, so I'm going to say it again because now we're actually have him on the show.
Come on.
This is not, oh, I don't like Craig. Let's all in the chat rally against him and insult him and stuff. This is not, oh, let's all take pot shots on Craig.
Well, 3 weeks
There
ago
is
you
no
said fuck you and the
surprise
Sidescrollers,
guests that are going to show
so.
up. There is no shocking gotcha questions here. It's literally not about
Oh, there will be
anything
gotcha
about Craig's
questions.
background or nothing. This is
Believe
about
me.
just our interaction last year. That's the point. And Craig, I want you to know that up front, because I know you had said that, of course, my detractors have to interject themselves into
They
every
were
piece of
right.
anything I'm involved in. And they've been contacting Craig saying, oh, he's going to get you. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. That's not going to happen. All right.
Well,
but now, go ahead.
And that's great. I was going to say, and to be fair, I mean, I have invited you. I've tried to do this probably 3 or 4 times since the end of that
Correct.
show to kind of have this exact conversation. So I am glad we're actually getting around to. Like I said, I said multiple times, I don't care if it's on our show or if it's on your show. I don't care. I think this is great. I'm glad we're able to.
All right, good. Now, that being said, I'd like to introduce Handsome Tom and Perfect Liz to the show. No, I'm just kidding. That's not happening.
Listen, honestly, I would love that. I would honestly love it.
Yep. Nice
Great.
plan joke, Phil.
Okay.
Really
so,
landed.
I think what we should do to start the conversation
Killed it.
is give a little bit of background about Craig, 'cause a lot of people, on my show may not know, but Craig's been in this space for a very, very long time. Craig, in my opinion, was one of the innovators of making
Innovators.
video game content on the internet. I
Yes,
mean,
he
in the
was.
mid-2000s,
Yes, he was.
right? You were making big view content on your Screw Attack website.
And
Big
this was
view
before the
content.
era of like YouTube being prominent and everything. Like you were there in the forefront, covering video games, doing countdowns, news stories, going to conventions, doing all kinds of stuff. And you've always been a prominent person in that space. It's not like you've come out of nowhere now with the Side-Scroller show in the last year.
You
You
said no
actually
one gives a
had
shit about
history,
that,
a
though.
big established history
okay.
of making very prominent content. That's how I knew Craig, is because I used to actually watch the Side-Scroller show way back in the day in the mid-2000s. And I was
Craig's
a friend
bored
of the
already.
angry video game nerd who was associated with Screw Attack at the time. So that's kind of how I
Philip.
got turned onto their content and started watching. Over the years, I did have association with Craig and Screw Attack. For example, I went to, which I know Craig says he doesn't remember. I don't blame him. Way before I
Right.
was even a YouTuber, I went to MagFest, this gaming convention, and we hung out like the whole time. Like I was with these guys, and we were playing
Very
Street Fighter.
memorable.
We played Call of Duty together at the time. There was a Call of Duty competition, and we even judged a rock band competition together. I don't even know if you remember
Did
that.
we?
Yes, we did. We were
Wow.
both judges on the panel, judging people doing rock band and stuff. It was fun.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that was like our first personal interaction.
And Craig does not
then
remember that at all.
Fast forward to years later.
Go ahead.
I was a YouTuber. I was a big YouTuber in the gaming space. I was like not top, but I was bringing in 10 million views a month on my DSP gaming channel. And I wanted to go to conventions and stuff. And I had contacted you when you said you were reviving the Screw Attack Gaming Convention. You were bringing it out of retirement. And I said, I would love to be there as a guest. And you had me as a guest. And let me tell you, Craig, you were the most gracious dude. Like, I knew that you didn't really remember me from MagFest at the time. You were like the most nice guy to me. You were there, and you had a table, a vendor booth, and there was a little misunderstanding about a
this an
vendor booth with someone else, and
interview, or-
we hashed all that out. And basically, you were so cool. And so from my history of knowing you, Craig, you were just a really nice guy. You were a good guy in the gamer space, making this content. We hung out at MagFest. You were so personable.
my
You're
God,
such a
this
nice
sucks.
guy. Meet you at Screw Attack Gaming Convention. So all the history I know of you is that you're just a really solid dude, right?
So what changed? What changed, Phil? What?
Yeah,
when did
fuck
when did
all
I
that.
become so irrelevant?
Oh, irrelevant. Not irrelevant. That's not, absolutely not. But basically, I want to preface this of how this whole thing came about, why I would even want to be on your show and stuff like that. So I heard, what was it? It was either late 2022 or early 2023. I heard through the grapevine, hey, Phil, did you hear that Sidescrollers is coming back? And I was like, no, I didn't know that. Let me check it out. So I actually did my research, and I saw that you had announced that you were going to bring back Sidescrollers. It was going to be a fun podcast about gaming and, all this stuff. And I got interested because I'm like, wow, that's cool. I used to listen to the show when it was audio only way back when, and it would be cool to see a revival. Now, I didn't know if you were going to have anyone back from the old show or anything, but I was like, I'm just curious. So I actually started listening to and watching your show.
Oh my
when
God,
you
Craig
revived
said
it.
one line.
And I just was thinking in the back of
Craig
my head,
said
now
one
I know at this
sentence.
point, everyone hates me, right? Like, I'm the guy you love to hate on the internet. I'm the guy everyone dumps on as a content creator. But I'm like, man, it would be fascinating if out of nowhere, out of the blue, if Stuttering Craig contacted me and asked me to be on his show, because that would be wild, because I don't go on shows, right? I don't do interviews. I don't do anything. It would be such a cool thing for a guy from my past who, I have a good relationship with. I mean, it's been 10 years since I talked to the guy, but it would be pretty cool if that happened. And then lo and behold, you actually did. And I
my
never thought
God.
in my wildest dreams you would have. So what I'd like to preface is that now we're getting to, talking about what happened last year. What actually happened that you reached out to me like that out of the blue after 10 years of no contact?
Yeah, I think that when Sidescrollers was starting, the show's evolved, right? Because it's now a decade later. Right? You can't be doing the same thing that you were doing a decade before and expect success. Evolving live. So
Clipping.
Sidescrollers, the old show used to be it was once a week for 30. But that was
Oh
podcast.
my God.
2006, 2015. Right? It was like,
Craig, your audio is breaking up a little bit, and I don't know if it's your settings or your mic. It's kind of sucks. It is breaking up a little bit.
Please. This is the worst.
the long and short of it was like,
Philip, can you turn him up on your end? Right-click his name, move the slider
Yeah,
to
Craig,
the right.
we can't hear you now at all for some reason. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, God.
showing that I'm
Yeah, it's still you're breaking up. People are saying if you talk louder, you get closer to the mic. I don't know. It could be sensitivity settings in Discord as well.
Should I get closer to the microphone?
Actually,
Is it better?
that's actually good.
All right, then I will sit right here the entire
Seriously,
time.
that's like really good.
Okay, then we'll just hold my microphone up right here.
Yeah.
Okay, so when Sidescrollers, when I was like, okay, we got to bring back Sidescrollers, and the idea behind it was, I left the video game space in its entirety for better part, for about a year. I went and I worked in the firearm, and when I left that startup, I looked back at the video game, and I didn't really have a whole lot of intention of ever going back.
Oh my God, this fucking sucks.
Places.
This is
like,
so
what
frustrating.
happened? And that was the origin story for Sidescrollers. So, the idea of bringing it back was really like there needs to be
great content here
back. And when we first did the show, the idea was we were going to try to mimic it after the old show. And the internet's not the same.
Pause it, Philip. Turn off
so naturally the show
filter.
had to shift. And the show has shifted. And, it's become more of a live. It's not necessarily a podcast. People do listen to the audio version of the show, but it's more about being there in the live experience, right? So there's always 3 of us, 4 of us.
That's from that time. Big ups, Doomer Ziggy.
Chat always has a voice as well.
Craig and Phil there.
So, I just like back at Screw Attack, I knew that just how you got to know Screw Attack through the Video Game Nerd, or people got to know any of the number of partners that we've had throughout the years through Screw Attack. It's always good to grow through association and a whole rising tides aspect. And
it's Craig's
that was
noise
always
gate,
something from the start. Was I want there to be a base crew, and we'll have guests every day, and it'll be a rotating cast of characters. And that's where it came down. I did a few interviews beforehand, and the idea was, well, I'll just reach out to everybody that I used to know and see if they're interested. So you were brought up, and I had not heard or talked to you in a decade. As you said, I certainly didn't know any of the lore and kind of really anything. I didn't know if you'd seen success on YouTube. I didn't know if you'd seen. I certainly didn't know about the detractor stuff. So that was, when we announced it, when I reached out to you and you're like, sure, I was like, okay, cool. And the intention was for you to come on and just be a regular guest on the show.
Right.
And keep in mind, I think we're like 2 weeks into the show. I think we launched February 5th. And I think I announced you like the 1st of March, maybe like February 20th or whatever. And when I announced you, and I announced several people
Great fucking show, isn't it?
It was like, I remember almost immediately getting emails where like, dude, you sure about that? Like, are you sure? Do you know what's going on? I was like, no, I didn't know, your entire background. So then the flood of communication comes in, and some people are like, you should not have Phil on your show. You should not. And I was like, my thing is communication. I like having conversations. Once again, which is why I've reached out to you, in the past about like, hey, well, let's just hash this out. And so naturally, people, they reach out. They're like, do you know this about Phil? Do you know this about Phil? No. And it became very obvious that there was a lot of lore to you and a lot of questions about that people didn't either were assuming or didn't know the which is why I reached out. And I remember saying like, okay, listen, the intention was to have you on the show, but it's very obvious. Like, we just have this show, do a normal show, and not address the elephant in the room, which is, the fact that you haven't been on the show in a decade, that you have all these questions about mobile games and blah, 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 and all this stuff. Like, then number one, it's a missed opportunity for you. And I don't want to be the guy who just like ignores all these questions. Right? Because it's interesting. So that's how it. And I was like, well, then we need to do an interview, and that's how the interview came about, right? And so we did the interview. You gave us 5 hours, which was very nice. I think you probably would have gone longer had everyone not kind of been tired. I mean, talking for 5 hours and doing that for 5 hours was a lot.
Right.
And you told us we were
I hope
very
someone's telling Craig this too, that his audio is fucked up.
Yes.
I remember you saying in particular you wanted to do it
Philip
again.
can't fix
Like,
that. You know that.
Okay, hold on, because people are making some very positive suggestions. They're saying if there's anything in your settings that's like noise cancellation or
I wasn't honestly listening, Craig. Could you do this real quick?
Stuff like that. Because what's happening is you're talking, and as soon as you stop, it's dropping the next word you say, as if noise cancellation is like kicking in on your
noise
mic.
gate.
That seems to be the issue. I don't think it's actually the distance. It's some kind of a noise cancellation filter, or you know what I mean, like a noise gate.
Yeah,
Noise
that's weird. Good.
Now it's too low.
Dio says there is a settings gear icon in the lower left of Discord.
Yeah.
You click on that, there will be a voice and video tab or menu.
Correct.
And then there's an input sensitivity all on the left, and that would fix it.
So if I unclick that, will that be better?
Let's see.
Is that better now?
That sounds great, actually. I think we did it.
Great.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, that was apparently the culprit here.
All right.
Okay.
Sensitivity.
We've done it.
F you, Discord. Okay, so that leads us to we do the interview, and
Well, actually, let me jump in.
Let me
because
talk for 20
I do
minutes
want to talk
real
a little
quick.
bit about my perspective going into this interview and
This
the
interview's gonna be
conversations we
6
had,
hours.
All right, because we want to be transparent about this, and I want to hear your perspective, and I want to give my perspective, because let's be honest, the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. That's what happens in all these situations. Okay,
I don't agree
so
with
from
that.
my perspective, you contact me out of the blue, and you say, I want you to be a guest on the show. And I'm thinking in my head, I've been watching the show, and the show has been pretty entertaining. These guests get to kind of showcase their expertise from where they come from. They talk about the topics you're talking about, so it makes them look personable. It makes them
they're
look
not
good.
lolcows.
And then they get to kind of talk about their brand or
In
whatever
most
they're
cases.
working on. And for me, I actually
Most
was
cases.
just launching a new channel called DSP React. And the idea was that I was going to try to use this appearance as a way to kind of launch this channel. I had all these ideas for things for the channel and everything, and this is a way to get it out to a new audience. Maybe you're not interested in seeing me play games, but maybe you want to see some kind of React stuff. Right? So originally I was just supposed to be the guest, and then you said, well, there's an elephant in the room. All these people want me to interview you. And I was like, well, I knew this was coming because you might not realize this, but the year before, a lot of other prominent YouTubers had been talking about me in a very negative light. Okay, one of them was actually Moist Critical.
Yeah.
And he had called me out for my grifting, that I was e-begging too much, and how could I do this to my viewers and stuff like that.
Yes.
And when he had done that, I was like, I agree with him, because now when I look back at how I was talking on a particular stream, like I agree with this guy. Like I'm being a miserable wretch. I'm being an ungrateful jerk. I said, but the thing is, if that's the case, right? Why don't you ever interview me? Like if everyone has a problem with me and the way I conduct myself or whatever, I would just like to be interviewed and treated like a person rather than yelled at across the
which I
internet
am.
from their people's high perches. It's kind of like punching down, right? I'm just a little rinky-dink guy, and I got these giant YouTubers talking about me in a negative way. And I had announced the year before I want to do an interview.
Good reason.
Well, of course, who contacts me? Who wants to do an interview? All my detractors, all these assholes. And I'm like, you know what? After thinking about it, I don't want to do an interview because they're just going to waste my time. It's just going to be really unfair treatment. So then when you reached out to me and now all of a sudden you're saying, oh, this is going to be an interview, I'm thinking, dude, I know Craig. Craig is a straight guy. He's a straight shooter. He's not
Craig is actually not homosexual. He's a straight guy.
going to do anything to screw me during this interview. He's going to hit me with hard questions, and I want him to hit me with hard questions. I think I even had told you that previously when we were talking. So you can ask me whatever the heck you want. You might not like the answers.
You said you wanted it to be the definitive DSP interview,
Yes.
right? And just to be clear, did I do anything during that interview that was dishonorable, or did I hit you at anything that because like I said, you finished that interview and you thought it was very fair.
Yes.
So did
I would say there were a few times that things were suspect, but at the same time, it was never outright like, oh, disrespectful gotcha moment or something like that. The one thing everyone's going to say is when Keemstar showed up.
Why don't you say it?
Now, I don't know how
Why don't you have the balls to say what you have a problem with, Philip? Everyone's going to say this. This is the opposite of kingly behavior, let's say. Everything everyone's going to bring up. Why don't you just say what your feelings are, Philip, for once?
Or something like that. The one thing everyone's going to say is when Keemstar showed up, right? Now, I don't know how that came about. You know what? Let's clear the air about that right now. How on earth did Keemstar end up in my interview? He
sent a message on Twitter.
Because obviously that was a shock. And if you remember how it happened, it was really questionable circumstances. Someone DDoS'd me off the internet. So I couldn't even continue the interview.
Oh, that's new.
And as I got DDoS attacked, Keemstar showed up on the show, and everyone's like, what the heck is this? Like, I'm sure this is a coincidence, right? So what actually happened?
Yeah, well, and once again, it's been 18 months,
Yeah, he
so
was
I'm
in
actually
chat,
going to go
yeah.
through and I'm going to look through my DMs right now to make sure I'm saying this correctly. But from what I recall, he had, like most people at the time, had reached out via DM, and let me see. I don't like to divulge private conversations, but
Yeah.
let me go back as best I possibly can to see. Let's see, we did that on what?
FYI, because I don't know if you know this, Craig. I had Keem on the show last week, and we hashed everything out. We're good.
Who gives
Cool.
a shit?
Excellent.
Irrelevant.
There's no issue. There's no bad blood between me and him. So it's not like,
Irrelevant.
oh, you're going to divulge something that he's going to be pissed about. Nah, we even talked about the appearance and everything, why he
Okay.
was on the
Yep.
show. So it's all good.
Cool story,
I want
bro.
to hear from
Anyways.
your perspective how it came
Okay.
about.
So I think somebody had mentioned the idea of having him on, and I was like, well, if you're watching, then DM me. So he DM'd me, and the idea was like, look, you said beforehand you didn't want to talk with him, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, fine, that's fine. Now, you said your internet went out, right? So that was like, okay, well, let's take this opportunity to, we got Phil here. Let's take this opportunity to bring Keem in, right? Because he had DM'd me, and he was like, let's talk. And if you recall, during that interview, like I was attempting to honor your word there. You said you didn't want to talk to Keem. So I went out of my way to be like, listen, we'll only have Keem on if you're okay with it. And the intention, and I think I've said this at the time, was to build a bridge, right? Was to build a bridge. And to think about this, you probably wouldn't have had Keem on last week had we not done that on Sidescrollers,
Correct.
had it not opened up the communication between the two, right? Maybe,
I disagree. I would have had Keem on regardless. I don't
It's
think
not
that him being on the
75%
interview had
speed.
anything to do with him being on this show last week.
That's fair. Totally fair. But like I said, I'm just going off assumptions. I don't know.
That's fine. I want to hear your perspective. So this is good. This is good.
This is good.
So
Great.
the idea
Keep it
was to
going.
build a bridge, right?
Camera loves you.
And whether it worked or not, that's fine. So we had you on, and when your internet came back, it was like, okay, I believe, and like I said, been 18 months. I believe we pulled Keem back, brought you back on, and said, hey, we have Keem here. Are you okay with this?
And you
Before
said?
Keem came back on, right? And the way I like to think of it is probably like it's halftime of a basketball game, right? So you go down to the sideline reporter to talk to the coach, right? Or something along those lines. And you get there, and like Keem being the color commentator at the time to provide, hey, how do you think this is
Can
going?
you put this
type
in
of thing,
sandwich shop terms? I don't
that's
get
the best
sports.
analogy that I can give, like off the cuff. But yeah, it wasn't meant to be malicious by any means. And nothing that we've ever done has meant to be malicious towards you. And I've stated that continuously in my communication with you. It's never been meant to be to tear you down or make, as your words, make money off your misery. That's never been an intention at all. So yeah.
Okay. So I understand what you're saying. I get it. But you have to understand that from an outsider's perspective, okay? Even what you just said, a lot of people didn't know. A lot of people didn't know that I told you beforehand that I didn't want to talk to Keem on this interview. So you've been told ahead of time, I don't want interaction with this man. Literally, one of my trolls who works at Comcast DDoS's me.
Oh,
I'm serious. This is proven it happened. There's actually evidence now, and the person's been fired. So the troll who works at my ISP,
that is not evidence for that, sir.
DDoS's me to kick me off my own interview. And you bring specifically the guy I told you I don't want any involvement in this interview onto the interview stream. So I think you can understand how that looks, right?
So while you're gone, I'm actually looking at our DMs with him right now. He said, let me pop on so when he comes back, he can respond, right? Because I believe, and once again, 18 months, I believe we were talking about Keemstar beforehand, right? So he was broached. The conversation about him was brought up.
Yes,
right?
it was.
So I'm of the mindset that if I would rather talk with somebody than about somebody, right? And I've said that many, many times on our show, and I say that right now, which is why, once again, I'd much rather talk with you.
I just hope Craig says, I gave you a chance to turn it down. I hope he says that.
I think that was the situation. He said, let me pop in so when he comes back, he can respond, right? And the idea that you said something about Keem then responded, you come back and you can then respond to what Keem said while still keeping you separate, right? But the opportunity was there. It was like, hey, well, look, once again, Keem, you can talk about DSP. DSP, you can talk about Keem. Why don't you just talk to each other right now and hash all this shit out?
And then Philip agreed to it.
Everyone's better for it, right? So you know, if you saw it as like I said, my goal ultimately, it wasn't to, you know, create any distrust or anything. It was more meant to be a positive experience, and hopefully it was.
Okay, so from my perspective,
Okay.
all right?
Yep.
You're
the felt.
absolutely right. So I'm getting DDoS attacked. I come back, and you ask me, hey, Keem's on the show already. Is it okay? Can we have him on? You absolutely did that. I can confirm 100%. I mean, it's already recorded, but yes, you did that. And that's very respectful of you that you did that. And I said yes.
Yeah.
In my mind, I'm already desperately trying to get back on the show because if it looks like I cut out of the show, everyone on the internet is going to say I'm a coward. I ran from the tough questions. So I'm doing everything I can to get back as soon as I can.
Okay.
The moment I get back, he's there. And it's like, I've already been grilled. And this is probably, you know, a very stressful thing going on. I'm sure you could
I'm doing a lot of lying at this point.
figure out for me. And then to now be presented with the man who I told you specifically I didn't want to talk to on the show. Yeah, it smacked me in the face. And then on top of that, you say, well, is it okay? Now, what if I say no? Again, now that makes me look bad. I look like I'm the guy who doesn't want to play ball, who isn't willing to talk.
One thing you don't
who's
have
just
is
an
balls
obstinate
to say no
jerk
then.
who just wants to, you know,
Grow
have it his way.
some
So, of
balls
course,
and say
I'm going
no.
to say yes. Now, in reality, did anything come out of that conversation with Keem?
Yes.
No. What happened was we went back and forth for like 5 minutes. Nothing came of it. And then he plugged his Happy Punch boxing, okay, which is really the reason why he was on the show. All right. That's why he wanted to be on your show, to plug his upcoming content. All right. He did want to talk to me for sure. That's true. But he definitely was on the show to plug his content. And that's literally what you allowed him to do, is do an advertisement. Okay.
So, okay, real quick. And once again, it's been 18 months, been a year and a half.
This is better than Keemstar, I'll tell you that.
My things are a little fuzzy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking through my email and I actually don't see any reference to Keemstar at all in that.
Philip!
Maybe it was mentioned beforehand. I don't know. Maybe I knew there was some sort of beef between you guys or something.
Yeah, we did. We had beef on the internet. And I believe at one point, I don't know if specifically it was like Keemstar, but I know you had said, you know, is there anyone? I said, I just want it to be us, right? I don't want to have guests coming on.
So
and
then
stuff.
what you said 5 minutes ago was a lie then.
Right? That's what it was supposed to be.
Cool.
So having this guy is shocking that he's in there. Why is he on this interview, right?
Okay. I get it, right? I get it. So,
Okay.
But with that said, we did finish up and you were totally pleased with things, regardless of if Keem appeared or not. You were pleased as punch, said you want to do a second time. You know, I said I'd like to do a second time. And to be clear, everything was great. And until the next day, right?
That's right. Now, to preface this,
Oh, please.
we had actually, in our discussions about this interview, the discussion was we were going to do this giant, hard-hitting, harsh interview. And then once we got through it, I can't remember the exact wording you used, but basically it was kind of like, let's get through the tough thing, and then let's do the fun thing, right? First, let's do the interview, then let's have you on as the guest as you were intended to be originally, right? That was the whole intention of this thing.
Yep.
So
he
you're
shouldn't read
absolutely
Super
right.
Chats?
After the interview, I jumped on my own personal stream, and I expressed to my audience, listen, I knew it was going to be a rough interview. I knew he was going to ask questions that I wasn't going to be able to provide evidence
said
of my
they would do
side
a
of it or
part
whatever.
two, correct?
And that's fine. I just wanted to have a place where people can see all of my answers, so they'll stop bugging me on my streams about this stuff, because it really had nothing to do with my content. You know, you're talking about mobile games and expenses and shit.
Yeah,
It has
those
nothing
things
to
that
do
turned
with the
out to be true.
broadcasting I'm doing every day of gameplay and stuff like that. I just wanted it to be somewhere else. So I actually was happy that we had covered all of that. All right? So by the end of that day, 100%. I was okay with how everything had gone down, even the shocking surprise guest and all of that. You know, whatever. So now I would like to hear your methodology about what happened the next day on your stream, because
Please
what you
say
had
you did him a
publicly said,
favor.
you could correct me if I'm
Please.
wrong. You had publicly said on Friday, the day after, you were going to do a decompression day where you guys were just going to sit around playing Mario Kart, shooting the shit, and having a fun day. That was the original intention after this crazy interview, but that is definitely not what happened.
Yeah, so you're right. I said we're going to do a decompression stream, and the intention was, you know, and remember, once again, we're a month into the show, and at the time, we actually did test out like Friday gameplay streams, right? We were trying to test those things out. Now, some more context for you. The last time the audience saw Adam is the last time I saw Adam. So Adam left. He went to go have some dinner. So the first time that people saw Adam the next day was when I saw Adam the next day, right? Maybe 60 seconds before we started the show.
Let's clarify. Adam is one of your co-hosts, so people might not know. He's one of your co-hosts on the Sidescrollers.
Yeah,
show.
he was. He's doing his own thing now, which is great. And he just had a kid, and like I'm super stoked for him. And he's welcome to come on the show anytime. Which, by the way, I do think that you and Adam should hash it out as well, right? Okay, so
please.
With that said, so the next day we come in and we do a decompression, and really just for the first time have an opportunity to talk about what's happened. Usually this would happen like you did. You know, you left and you went on and did your own decompression stream.
Yes.
Right? And so that was our first opportunity to do our decompression stream. Now, Adam thought you were full of shit, right? And he said so in so many
was
words, right? And when, you know, I think that's the thing about the interview, which was really unique, was, you know, I had done a lot of research on you and everything leading up to, based off of, you know, what right or not, what people were saying about you and questions about you.
Well, this is a good point to break off before we get to your Friday stream. So what exact research did you do? Like, who did you talk to? What information were you gathering upon when you went into this interview? Because I think people want to hear your perspective of what your notions were going into this thing.
Videos that are on the internet
and how it turned out.
Well, I mean, I did talk to pretty much anybody and everybody that I could talk to about you. I mean, I can let me see if I can find my Google Docs about it, and I can tell you exactly what my research was.
Let's see how many DSP fans showed up.
But yeah, I went in and made that. But I do want to finish my point here. And
Okay, go ahead. Yep.
The idea that I had a somewhat of a background. I'd done a couple weeks of research on it, like way more research than you possibly should do for an interview, right?
Yeah.
But my thought was, and I said this before, and I'll say this again, I wanted to treat you with respect. I wanted to treat me with respect, and I wanted to treat the audience with respect, right? And I had a pretty good idea of what the audience was going to look like, right, for this. Here we go. I got this doc right here. Potential DSP questions, right? And this is, you know, it's all various things that we touched on, right?
Now, where did this come from? Was this like you asked people what questions you would want me to ask DSP, and you
created
made a
them.
compilation? Is that what this document is?
No, I think a lot of this was just through various DMs and communications, things that people had asked and wanted to know about you.
Yeah.
Obviously the WB Champions thing, the you know, various clips that, you know, broader questions. You know, how do you think? Let's see. I'll just go down the list. I've been told not to interview you. Why do you think that is? When you stream, who is streaming, Phil or DSP?
Yeah.
What have you done to change
for the
perception
interview
from a production standpoint? Right. So, like I said, there's a list of these things.
Right.
And then there's like some of my notes in here.
Philip
right,
just
where
wants
we
to blame
talk about,
detractors here.
you
That's
know,
all we're digging for.
I remember one
That's
one
all
point
we're
in
digging
particular
for.
we were talking about your, you know, you've been doing this forever, but you don't have a business plan or a financial plan. People were really hung up about your taxes, so wanted to touch about that. You know, how you spend your money, obviously, with WDB Champions, which we can talk about that in a little bit.
So Craig, you have to understand, literally every question you just asked, I mean, just think about it. Every question you just asked is basically like personal stuff. And it's stuff that my detractors would want to know. Okay.
Your fans
so
would
now
too.
I'm just telling you from an outside, you know, from your perspective, an outsider's perspective, or even my perspective, it sounds to me like what you did for 2 weeks is you just said, hey, everyone who doesn't like Phil, contact me.
No, he said, hey, everyone.
I mean, you even had a clip from It's a Gundam, one of the most infamous people who rags on me all the time, as an audio question at the end of the interview.
Papa Gundam, yeah.
What I would like to ask you
Papa
right now,
Gundam, he said
I hope that you'll be honest with me.
Sure, I will.
In your efforts to gather information about me for this interview, did you talk to anyone who actually likes me?
Well, I think I was open to talking to anybody who would, but nobody reached out that said they really liked you. And I don't mean that negatively. I mean, I said I was
no, there's a good reason for it, and I'll explain it in a second, but, you know, go ahead.
But so with that said, like, you know, when you say you're going to do an interview with somebody and you say, hey, I'm open to talking to all people, if there are people who go out of their way to like you, they didn't reach out to me. Right. So, you know, your theory of like, I only collected things from detractors at the time, you know what? It may be right, you know, but once again, it wasn't malicious. These are all things that people were curious about. And you have to admit, Phil, when you're essentially radio silent for a decade and people don't go in and they don't have an opportunity to interview you, it's important to flush those pipes out and just get it all out there. Right? It goes back to the elephant in the room, right? When you have this giant elephant that everyone's staring at. If you don't have an opportunity to talk about those things, whether they're personal or not, right? Then they should be addressed, because that is what the DSP lore is all about.
Right.
So, if you did have to use the opposite side of this, the detractor versus the champions for DSP, not a single champion reached out and was like, hey, did you know this? Did you know that Phil donates to charity? Do you know whatever, right? And had they, then we would have. Now, with that said, leading up to this, you also knew what this was going to look like, because you prefaced me. I mean, I have our emails pulled up, and you gave me, sent me ammo saying, hey, this is what I think they're going to ask. And I feel like I've addressed a lot of these things. You sent me videos of you addressing these things. But as you said, you wanted this to be the definitive DSP interview, right?
Yes.
So if you want it to be the definitive DSP interview, then naturally I should be listening to everybody who has criticisms of you. And if there is this lore that's attached to it, then I wouldn't be doing my job as the interviewer to do research, good and bad, about the interviewee. Otherwise, it's a fluff piece.
Okay. And fair enough, and I accept that answer, but now I'm going to give you my response.
I don't give a shit what you accept. He's telling you his truth.
Okay.
Sure.
And you probably don't know this, all right? The reason that my fans don't reach out and get involved in this kind of stuff is because my detractors, okay, those people who you were talking to get questions to ask me, systematically hunt down, harass, dox,
how would they
and do
know in the
horrible
DMs?
things to anyone who publicly supports me.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm not just talking like, oh, someone was in the chat and said I like Phil. I mean, they'll try to hunt these people down, find their social media, find where they live, find where they work, call them, harass them, call them pedophiles, do horrible things to them. There's been supporters documented who give me a $100 tip, and then they get hacked and stuff. It's really messed up. I mean, case in point, Craig, do you not remember? Maybe you don't remember this. It was like a week or two before the interview. They tried to dox you. You remember that,
they
right?
did.
And I told you about it. I said, just so you know, they gave your an address on the internet, and I don't think it's real. And they did it to you. So if they're doing it to you, obviously they're not going to. My fans who like me are not going to speak up in a public venue like that and be like, "Oh yeah, now I want to talk about Phil." No, they'll watch me. They'll silently support me, as they have done for a very long time. But they're not going to put themselves into the line of fire of these already deranged people.
Please say that, Craig.
Okay? And you maybe didn't know that.
Blabs.
So I got to give you the benefit of the doubt here, that I got to trust you, say that you were doing what you thought was fair. But a lot of people were going into that interview thinking, okay, he's going to ask tough questions. But at the same time, maybe we'll talk a little bit about the positivity about Phil's 16-year history on YouTube. The good old days, or even what's good about what he does today, how he's improved, stuff like that. Like, there was none of that. It was literally just like negative. Now, I told you I was okay with that.
That's all there is.
But from, again, outsider, they're looking at the situation like Craig just sat around for 2 weeks claiming he did all this research, and all he literally did was talk to the people who hate Phil the most.
So you did want to puff
compiled it
piece
into
then.
a ball of negativity and threw it at him.
Okay, so
And
you
that's
did
the
want to puff
perception
piece.
of that interview
Got
at
it.
this point from those who aren't my
Gotcha.
detractors, basically. In fact, just to give you another example, Mike Klum, who I was planning on possibly doing a documentary with this year, said to me directly, you realize that Sidescrollers interview was just for your detractors, right? Like, no one else cares.
Because Mike
no
Klum
one
was
else
trying to
watched
get
it
you
and
to
said,
agree to this
it was
interview.
literally a detractor interview.
That's it.
And that's all it'll ever be. That's why you should do positive content like a documentary, because you need to have parts of your truthful nature, your personable, personality come out. No one saw that in the interview because it was literally detractor question, detractor question, detractor question.
With all due respect to Mike, do you not think he was just puffing up your chest to try to get you to do a documentary with him?
Oh, yes! And the truth shall set you free.
Of course he was. I mean, let's be honest. Of course he wanted to do a documentary with me. But, I mean, from all this nonsense, there's always a little moment of truth, right? And it rings true. That interview, if you watch it back, you don't get to learn anything about me besides all the things people don't like about me. And that sucks, because that's there forever. That's a video that launched you guys into prominence for a while, right? I think you can agree. Can we agree there? Can we just say that interview did give you a launching board to popularity, right? And I'm not saying that anything that came after is a result of me. I'm not. but was that not the piece of content that launched your show into prominence and people wanted to hear from the Sidescrollers?
I think that it raised awareness that Sidescrollers was back, but to think that anybody who watched that, like, I would say we had, Phil, 2,500 people tuned in live to watch that show.
Yeah.
Right. We had 3,000 watching our show today. Right.
That's right.
Of that 3,000 who watched our show today, how many of those of that 2,500 were there?
Probably zero, because your show today is a different show. It's completely different content.
Well,
So,
it's not an interview. It's not about Phil. And I think I recognize that, right? Now, did it raise awareness? Sure. Is it why the show's been successful? No. You know?
Oh, no, and I agree with you there. Your show is taking off. And
That's what
I
you
wanna
just
say kudos
said.
and congrats to you for having a very successful show now. I mean, it's blown up, and that's great. But people didn't know about Sidescrollers until my interview. Is that a fair statement to say?
It raised awareness. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
You talk
But
shit about it,
just
Philip.
like
Is this
our
the felt?
interview with the Tetris CEO, or us talking about Concord or Dustborn or whatever. Like, once again, the show was changing. We were trying to figure out what the show was, and it took about a year before we figured out what the show was.
Yeah. You remember you were saying on the show, no politics, and now it's like it's completely flipped. Like, that's
Is this a
mostly
felt?
what you're talking about these days.
I
you know?
disagree. I don't think what we talk about is politics at all. I think we talk about the culture of this stuff. Very rarely.
Fair enough. I'm okay. Not hardcore politics.
Okay,
I
yes.
agree with you there.
Very
Okay.
rarely do we actually talk about Democrats or Republicans or anything like that. No, we talk about the culture associated.
Culture, I get it.
Which I think from a video game perspective is way more important than whether a game gets a 7 or an 8 in a score. You know?
Yeah.
And I think that's what's lended it, because at the end of the day, you see a number of the reason why Sidescrollers is working and our audience is growing is because we know
Philip's
that
argument
there are a
getting
bunch of, as we
dismantled
say
in
our chat,
4K
our
right
community's
here.
called normal men. They're called normal men for a reason, because there's a bunch of normal men who are looking around going like, yo, what the hell's happening? And this isn't right. This is not normal. And the thing about Sidescrollers, we do the exact same thing now that we did a decade ago. It's just in a different package, because a decade ago, we were laughing at all the stupid shit that was happening in the video game space. Now there's just way more stupid shit that happens in the video game space that we can talk about it every day. It's the same premise. It's just in a different package. So anyways, with that said, like I said, the show was evolving, the show was changing. And we haven't done like an interview on the show in, I'd say, almost a year, because the interviews were fine, and they were originally supposed to be a regular weekly part of the show. But once again, it takes a while to figure out what the show is, and now we have a good idea of what the show is, who our audience is, and we're there now. Once again, did those interviews help raise awareness? Absolutely, but I can't. I'd say it's a chapter of the Sidescroller story, and just as Sidescrollers is a chapter of the DSP story.
Sure. I will agree with you on that. The show today has nothing to do with me. I'm not trying to take credit for it whatsoever in that regard. You've done good for yourself, putting it in its new own
Except
space.
when I did 5 seconds ago.
Yeah. So getting back to now, because we did get derailed there talking about the beforehand. So the interview happens. All of a sudden, all eyes are on you guys because you did this interview with DSP. Friday is supposed to be a decompression stream with Mario Kart, but instead it turns into something else. So now let's get into this. So what actually went down on that
Reading
Friday
super
show?
chats.
Yeah, we went in, we talked about things, and we do what we do every day. We just talked about what's in the news. The difference was that we were the news, and the interview was the news in the sphere. And people wanted to
how
hear
Craig's
our
being
thoughts
so
about it
calm.
for the first time, and that was the first time we'd got together. So
in his dismantling,
you listen to your audience, and when the audience says, we want to hear your thoughts about what happened yesterday, you do that. And for us, it was a Friday, so naturally we're gonna talk about it, and then we're gonna give the weekend to decompress, and then we're gonna resume the show on normal on Monday. It doesn't matter if Mario Kart was played or not. The intention was still the same, was to talk about what just happened the day before for the first time, just like you did the day before with the decompression stream.
Oh, interesting.
Now, was it what you wanted to hear? No. But was it honest? Yes. And honestly, I think that when it comes to the reasons why we were upset was, and specifically Adam was upset, was because he smelt shit, and whenever he'd say it was like talk in circles. And I think that there's like a lot of that stemmed from the WWE Champions thing. That's where a lot of the meat came from, right?
Yes.
So we asked you about that several times,
which proved to be true, by the way.
You know, we got the runaround on it. We all knew it was the runaround, right? There were, you know, we talked about you sharing your account, and then and then that didn't happen, and that was when the internet went out and everything associated with that. And so you know, we were upset about it.
I turned off the visions.
Because we smelled the shit. And I think that there's like actually like a lot of irony when it comes to this, and that like just was yesterday, I get sent clips to you all the time, and leading up to this especially, you know, where you talked about WWE champions, and you said that, you know, you spent for forever lying about it, right? So, so with that said, like, do you think that you admitted to lying about this, right? Do you think that we had a right to be upset because we felt you were lying? We knew you were lying. You admitted to lying. Do you feel that we had a right to be upset the next day?
Well, let me okay.
Hear that
let me
sizzling?
put it into these terms. Okay.
Hear that sizzling?
When a guest is going to be on a show and is going to be interviewed, and they know there's going to be hard-hitting questions, and that was all previously established. All right, we knew all this was going to happen. That's why I agreed to do the interview, because I felt like this was going to be it, the definitive interview or whatever. Okay. Never in my wildest dreams did I expect that the next day after the interview you were going to do that. You didn't even tell the public you were going to do that. And now, let's be honest here. What actually happened on that Friday show is you talked to my detractors almost the entire show.
Super chats.
You were reading all of their contributions as they rolled in. I think some of them were previously from the interview the day before. I want to be fair here. I think there were like leftovers you hadn't shouted out the day before. And then there was a ton of contributions that came in that day from my detractors.
Should they not read those?
So you just sat there reading them. And, okay, you're upset with me. You don't believe me. You smell shit. All right? But there's a difference between saying, well, we just did this big interview. We don't believe him, versus actually, like, actively participating in memes that they have about me. Your entire cast laughed ack on the show together.
That was the best part.
As if this was something funny to do to deride Phil. I was the guest on your show the day before.
You
for
laughed
5
at that
hours.
when June did it in the documentary.
I was on your show.
He
and answered
laughed.
hard-hitting questions. You didn't have to believe the answers.
Hold on. Did you answer? Because you
I did. Oh, indeed, I answered. You just didn't like the answers.
Phil, don't flip that on me, because you didn't. You were dishonest with us.
Yes.
And we smelt that.
It's still an answer. It doesn't matter if it's honesty or not. It's still an answer.
Then let me ask you this, Phil. Will you apologize for lying to us? Because that's where a lot of that
directly
came from.
to our faces for 5 hours.
And I gave you an opportunity multiple times. I remember pleading with you, Phil, just come clean on this. And the opportunity was there. And had you just come clean at that instance, everybody would move past this. So I do think that, like, once again, why were we upset, Phil? What's the root of all this? We felt and we knew and we smelt a lie. We smelt it, right?
Brilliant.
So, and you admitted yesterday to lying to us. So that to me stings, because you're not only lying to me, you're lying to your audience, you're lying to my audience, and you're lying to everybody else. So you should apologize to me and Adam and Travis and Blabs and everybody else who watched that show, because they were expecting the definitive DSP interview. And what they got was lies.
Oh my God.
That's not definitive, Phil. That's the issue I had with this.
Okay, now since we're getting into the nuance of it now, let's go talk, because the lies you're talking about are WWE champions. That's what we're talking about.
I need a cigarette.
Let's hone in on.
But will you apologize though? Because that's
let's hold on. Let's talk. Let's do this. All right. Let's like man to man. Don't demand something from me now. Let's talk like men.
I'm asking.
Okay.
I'm asking.
If in that interview,
holy shit.
all right, I had been honest
combative
with you and completely transparent, and I said fessed up to everything, right? Immediately you would have said, "That's great. Prove it." Correct? You would have said, "Prove everything you're saying."
And we gave you the opportunity to.
Okay, now let's be real about this, because I don't want you to lie to the internet about it. I want to be real about this.
I'm not.
I trust Craig.
In that interview, all right, you said to me, show me evidence of what stuff you're saying, show me screen captures or whatever. And I'm going to be honest with you. No, I was never going to do that on the fly, because I'm the kind of guy I want to make sure if I'm going to do something like that, I want to make sure everything's safe. I want to make sure it's correct. I'm not going to send you something just to say it wasn't good enough. I want you to show you the definitive evidence to prove what I'm saying or whatever, okay?
Few letters
So I'm thinking
from
in my head
Screaming.
during the interview because I didn't know you were going to hit me with that. Honestly, I thought you were just going to ask me questions and I was going to answer. I didn't know you were going to say, this is your opportunity to actually clear this up. I never thought you would do that. So I'm thinking in my head, okay, how can I prove it? How can I do this? How can I do that? I need to get this stuff together for you, right? And you had left the door open. And in fact, this is what near the end of the interview, we were talking about this. If you want to, clarify everything, you can send it to me after we're done here. We even left the door open for that, correct? You remember that, right? I'm not making that up. That was correct.
Right. And to be clear, I actually have our emails pulled up.
Sure.
If you have those pulled up, I think that you can read your part and I can read my part, just so everybody is on the same page and there's full clarity on all this stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I don't need to read them. I know exactly what they say.
So let's let the world know it.
I think it's important just so this is us talking, but
yeah.
We'd be ignorant to say that there's not a couple, few thousand people who
this is so
once again, this is part of
good.
the story of how we got here, right? So I do think it's important because I don't want to leave any context out. So do you mind if I read our emails after the
Yes, please.
Just our back and forth that we had after, because I think it does provide context to what we're talking about here.
Sure. This is the email that was sent after I got off the show.
Yeah.
Because I believe there was an email then, and then I emailed you again after I'd eaten dinner about, are you available? Are you going to be checking this email box? And that was where we had left it. And then the next day you emailed me something in the morning, correct? That's the chain of events.
Okay. So it happened on, I guess we talked March 16th of last year. Right. So you emailed me at 8:18 and said, "Hey, Craig, I'm interested to hear your thoughts on how the show went. I really hope that it was a big benefit to you guys. If so, this may have been the only time in history that my infamy has actually helped something. I know you'll want to get back to normalcy, but I'm looking forward to hearing from you again about the possible next appearance. My viewers are telling me that they think that you and Adam were too harsh, but I disagree completely. As I told you on the podcast, you are nothing but fair. But there is pretty much 100% consensus that the Keemstar bit was intrusive, gave him free plugs for his own content, and took away about an hour that should have been more on topic. I didn't mind. I didn't mind, but that's the vibe my viewers are sharing with me. I would likely be best for a repeat appearance to just be us to avoid people feeling like it was a quote surprise or trick or shock me. How often do you check this email? I'm still 50-50 on showing you my Champions account at this point, especially because of what Keemstar said. I feel nobody would believe you even if you vouched for me, but I respect you and still considering it, despite the fact I'm incredibly scared my info will once again leak and hurt me. So that was the email that you sent me at 8:18.
Okay, which was 5:18 my time. Well, actually, I don't know what time zone you are, but it was
Central. So 6:18 your time.
Gotcha. Okay. So it was right after dinner. Correct. Okay. Now I will clarify what was going on. Okay.
We just saw what you said. We don't need to hear the retcon.
Now, did you see my show last night where I talked the truth about WWE Champions for the very first time? Have you seen that at all, or did you just hear about it?
I had a clip sent to me, but
okay.
I haven't like watched the whole thing. I've watched like 90 seconds of it.
In a nutshell, all right, yeah, the account was mine. I had it for many years, and after years of harassment by my detractors, I sold the account, okay? So at the time that we're doing this interview, I don't have access to the account, so I can't prove really anything, right? All I could do is I could show you like a new account, which is the account that I had currently. If you remember, you would ask me straight up in the interview, do you still play WWE Champions? Yes, I do. But it's on this new account. It's not the original account that the detractors knew about and were stalking me for all these years.
Phil, I don't really care about WWE.
Okay, no, fair, but here's, I understand, but you have to understand the situation. So I'm saying to you, I'm 50-50 on sending it, but if you had said to me, yeah, okay, I'm still open to it, I was going to show you the new account. I was going to try to explain all this to you and say, this is why I can't just on a whim show you everything. It wouldn't have worked. You easily could have said, oh, you made this up. This is a bullshit new account or whatever. Yeah. It's a convoluted story. It is, okay? So what was your response to me reaching out to you saying, hey, I have the information, I'm 50-50 on it. What was your response to that?
Yeah. So, and once again, let's make sure we have all references here. It's you send that March 16th at 18 p.m. So it's evening time for me, right? My morning routine is I wake up and I start prepping for the show, right? So we're live at 11. I'm getting up. I'm getting prepped for everything. I have not checked this email, right? I've not checked this email. And you know, because I told you prior to, in our original correspondence, I don't check this email. I don't check this email very often. Sometimes it'll go weeks before I check the email, right? So you know this. So so you send me that email. The following day, March 17th, I respond at 7:45. That's the next time we have any sort of correspondence.
Is that AM or PM?
That is PM.
Okay.
So it's been about 23 hours.
And you've already done your show for Friday. It's already taken place.
Keep up, Philip.
So here's my response to you. I said, and I felt like this was a very fair assessment of things. And you could tell me if I'm wrong. I said, hey, Phil, I think the show went okay yesterday. We talked about it at length on today's show as a debrief. I think we all left the interview mentally exhausted and feeling incredibly frustrated as at the end of the day, we want what's best for you, man. The things that are laid out about everything, the WWE mobile games, the bank stuff, etc., it just doesn't make sense, man. There's too much evidence saying it's yours, and your only evidence is just saying it's not. I feel like we gave you multiple opportunities to turn this thing around, but you just seem so dug in. Even in the face of insanely detailed evidence, you wouldn't take it. Even with Keemstar coming on, I tried to lay out the similarities you feel towards him and the way people feel about you based off of things that you've said online. It was tough. Honestly, I'm just disappointed, man. Like I said, I and we want what's best for you, man. We very much do, but you have to want what's best for yourself. When you're ready to take that step, I will gladly help you, man. Help you, man, on your journey. You deserve to get to level 2. I know you can do it. And that's the email that I sent to you. Yes. And I think that was very fair. I did not lie to you and be like, hey, Phil, it was great. It was spectacular. Can't wait to set up number 2. As I said in the email, we were exhausted from it, and mentally tired from it, physically tired from it, and we talked about that. We talked about that on the following debrief. So had we done that debrief immediately after the show, chances are we would have said the exact same thing, probably worse, but you can see in that email, we felt lied to. We felt exhausted, right? And the reality is, Phil, we were lied to, right? So, and self-admittedly, you said we were lied to, and we knew that. So naturally, when somebody lies to you and continues to lies to you, you're going to be upset.
Right.
So we were
Fair
upset.
enough. Okay. So I will confirm everything that Craig just said is true. That is correct, was what was in those emails. I know for a fact that's exactly how it transpired. Okay. So now he said it. I didn't say it. He said it. He literally read the emails word for word. No one can say that I made this up. Okay. So we got to follow the order of events. I'm on your interview. 5 hours, hard-hitting questions. I lie to you about WWE champions. You leave the door open and say, you can send me the information after to clarify all of this. Okay? That was said directly in the interview. You agree to that, right, Craig? You did say that. I go on my show. I say, that was a good interview. I'm okay with it. I even email you, say, I'm okay with it. I'm 50-50 about sending you the stuff. Do you check your email? You literally just publicly admitted you don't check your email.
So what?
Right?
Well, in this situation, yeah, it'd been a day. Yeah.
So you ended an interview, the hottest piece of content you had ever made at that point on Sidescrollers. You knew all eyes were on you. You knew people were looking to see if I was going to follow up with you and send you this information. And you decided not to check your email, but instead to do a show ragging on me the next day. Is that a correct statement?
I would say that in between me ending the show, being done with the internet for the day, going to sleep, and waking up the next day and then doing the show. Like Phil, as we said at the time, you had one opportunity to send the stuff. It wasn't there, right? You passed on that.
Yes.
Whoa.
You passed on it.
Passed on what? You just admitted the door was open to send you the information when I got it together.
During the show, Phil, during the interview.
Craig, we're on an interview and a show. Craig. We're in an interview. The idea of the interview is for me to answer your questions. It's not stop the interview.
Who cares what the point of the interview is?
And get you screenshots and things proving
Sidescrollers decide the point of the interview.
Was. Never once before the interview did you ever say that's what it was going to be. And like I said, if I'm going to send you something, it has to be sure that it's proving my point. This was a convoluted story. It's not I could just send you a screenshot. I got to try to prove now that I've got a new account and it's not the old account that I sold the account.
Right.
This is complicated.
No.
It's not something I can just do during the show. I was literally, to be transparent with you now, as I sent you that email, I had everything ready.
Irrelevant.
I told you I was 50-50. I literally had it all ready to go. And all you had to do was check your email and say, I'm here, Phil. I'll check it. And I would have sent it to you, and you would have had it. And instead of having a Friday show where all you did was beat me up all day, you would have had the Friday show saying, the big reveal. DSP cleared the air. He said he was a liar, but here's the truth. But you didn't check your email. You told me.
Like, what do you want, dude? Like, I'm sorry that I didn't check my email for 23 hours. That's not how people communicate in 2023. And I know that's how you communicated, but like, I didn't check my email for 23 hours. And I'm sorry that I didn't check my email for 23 hours. I apologize for that. Will you apologize for lying?
I apologize for lying, but I don't want your apology that you didn't check your email. I want your apology.
Don't
being
demand apologies.
Disingenuous about everything that happened after the fact, after the interview. That's what I want.
But the thing is, Phil, I don't think we were being disingenuous. Like, I think we were being completely honest with how we felt. You know, like I said, we spent 5 hours talking to you, getting the runaround, man, and like it was not meant to be.
Yep, Philip.
Like, this was once again. I go back to the definitive Dark Side Phil interview, and it wasn't. So I'm disappointed in that because there's things that you're telling us now you lied about. We felt it. We knew it was happening in real time. We felt like we were getting gaslit. So naturally, yes.
You should have just randomly believed his lies, Craig.
Tired, and honestly, didn't want to deal with you, which is why in that email I said, look, man, we're just disappointed. Like I said, I want what's best for you. We very much do, but you have to want to help yourself. Is lying to us on stream helping yourself?
Oh
no, of course not. You deserve to get to level 2. I know you can do it. Right?
Craig, what you told me in that email you sent me on Friday, basically in other words says we don't actually care what the truth is because I had the truth and was going to send it to you and you ignored me.
No, it's not that I ignored you. It's because I didn't check the email. And
that's called ignoring because
23
you knew
hours,
that was
Phil.
our line of communication. You asked me to send you the information. I was going to, and you chose not to check it. You actively ignored the way that I could have cleared my name. And then you went on to do a show that made you tons of money defaming me on the internet. That's exactly what happened. And there's no way that you can ever clarify that because it's in black and white. You just admitted it. You read it. You just admitted it publicly that you didn't check the line of communication we had that I could have cleared the whole situation.
Is this like the gotcha? Like,
there's no gotcha. There's no gotcha.
Okay.
You read it. I actually wasn't going to read the emails.
Phil,
you did it.
Phil, I don't apologize for not checking my email for 23 hours.
Yes.
I'm an adult with a family and kids, and honestly, I was tired of it, right? The fact that I did check my email on Friday night was fascinatingly amazing that I did that, right? That's a big dub, but I'm sorry that you felt betrayed that I didn't check my email. And once again, there's a big difference between ignoring, because I didn't know the email was there in the first place. You have to know it was there to actively ignore it. I did not actively ignore your email. I didn't know it happened. So I can't ignore something that I didn't know happened.
Craig, in the interview, we ended it with, the door is open. You can send me the information.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
at any
didn't
time.
know it happened. Do you need to have a bomb go off when someone sends you the thing you directly asked for? Would you not even in a moment
He responded in 24
contact
hours.
me today about this, and I should check, because
he
how else am I
actually
gonna
has
send
a
you these documents
family.
anyway. By the way, it has to be an email attachment, right? I can't just call you and give it to you. I didn't have your Discord or anything, right? We were doing it through some other streaming client, so I had to send you an email. All right. Now here's the thing. Here's the thing. We can talk about this for the rest of the show.
Allow me to kind of
one more, and then I want to move on because this is
sure, and that's fine. I'm just going based off of our track record of emailing back and forth. Okay, I'm just looking at how we emailed back and forth leading up to this thing, right? There's pretty much at least a day between every correspondence that we had, right? Almost every single time there's at least a day between our correspondence. So based off of our track record of corresponding with each other, I'm not going to go like I said,
Craig, this is a really bad cope, bro. This is really bad. You're saying we just ended the interview. You said the door is open. Send me the information, and then you just say, "Well, I'm just not going to check for the information." That's a bad cope. Previously, our correspondence was never a reason for you to check right away. Now you had a reason, and you didn't. Instead, you actually did the opposite. Instead of giving me the fair shake, but see if I was going to send you stuff, you went on a show defaming me the entire next day. That's the worst situation possible for you, but you didn't care.
Phil, you got me. I didn't check my email. I'm sorry. Hey, with that said, why do you need me? If you want to put this out there, like you have an X account, you have a Twitter account, you have social media, you have a YouTube community tab. You can post all this stuff available like literally right now. You said you have it pulled up. Like you had all this stuff available. It's still got to be on your computer somewhere.
Is this your gotcha moment? You're going to try to get me to post my shit on the internet?
No, Phil, I'm saying is you don't need me. You never did need me, right?
Yep. That's actually untrue. Because what you don't understand, Craig, because again, you didn't know this, is that any time that I try to defend myself, the detractors move the goalpost. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be a little innocuous thing that doesn't matter at all. It could be a big
took a while to get here. Here we are.
That I've been doing for years. Whenever I try to do something, all right, they move the goalpost. Right now, I could post all the information up, and they would say, that's fake. That's not true.
I don't think so.
So it doesn't matter what I post or what I don't. Now, in the case of you had presented yourself as a neutral third party. You were going to be someone who was going to do this interview and be fair, and then you were going to judge for yourself, which actually seems like that's what happened. Except you didn't actually give me the opportunity to send you the information to clear my name and tell you what really was going on. Now, whether or not you checked your email or not, it's not a big deal.
I'm sorry I didn't check my email. And I would like to take this moment to apologize to you and apologize to all of your champions and especially all the detractors for not checking my email for 23 hours.
Oof.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so let's move on from the email because this is going to be so boring if we keep talking about this. And I know that your time is valuable. You said you can only be here for about 90 minutes, right? So probably another 20 minutes.
I got about another 20 minutes, yeah.
Okay. Oof. The next day you do a show. The entire show you're ragging on me, saying you didn't believe me at all. You laugh. Okay, go ahead.
Which you didn't give us reason to.
Okay.
You admitted to yesterday.
Fair enough. You laughed at my detractors. You did all the memes. You got a whole bunch of detractor contributions, correct? That did happen.
Sure.
Okay. Did you continue to do content based on me after this at all? Thanks for the membership.
Not especially. I think there was a... I don't remember the context of it, but I remember seeing you said something about us, and I was just kind of like done with it. And I think I went live, and I did what was called a monetize the hater stream.
Yes.
And but I don't remember the context of it. But I remember being like I was done with it. Right. That's the thing, Phil. You got to understand. Like we've done almost 400 episodes of Sidescrollers. Right. Your interview was one day. Right. Now, once again, was it a chapter of the show? Yes, 100%. Do we appreciate it? Yes, 100%. But like we were done. We've turned the page. Just like I don't watch your stuff on a day-to-day basis. Just like you don't watch our stuff on a day-to-day basis. I have too much going on to worry about what somebody else is doing online, right? So you get brought up occasionally, but it's just part of the Sidescrollers chapter in our book at this point. Part of the lore, just like Sidescrollers is a part of yours. So. So yeah, I was pissed. So I went live and honestly, I will like to give credit to my boy Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers for his monetize the hater thing. So yeah, I think I went live with a monetize the hater thing and just kind of railed for a little bit because I was tired. I don't remember the context.
Yeah, I remember Phil was making fun of them for weeks.
So. It is what it is. Do I regret it?
Correct, Bill Bones.
Yeah, kind of. But at the same time, it's just part of what it is.
Okay. All right. I wanted to hear that straight from your mouth that this happened because I was, the truth is, Craig, I don't even know. Because like you said, I don't watch your content. So I actually don't know the truth of what happens and what doesn't happen. I just hear people saying, are you aware that right now Craig has a stream called Monetize the Haters? He's making money off of your detractors. He's saying that he wants to be on your show. I'm like, what? I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, you're right. That's what it was. You were live. That's right. You were live, and I think you were talking shit about us or something along the lines, and talking about how bad we were to you. And I was like, and this was another thing. I was like, look, I will come on your show right now and do exactly what we're doing. Right now, this was, I don't even know how long ago this was. It was just like, let's just get done with this. And as I've said at the start of this, like, I reached out to you multiple times to do exactly this, to just get through this shit. And I told you, like, I don't care if it's on our channel or on your channel or some other channel, right? Let's just do it. So I was actually glad that you reached out because, this is, I don't think about you a whole lot, Phil, except for when people bring you up to me. And,
fair enough.
And you're upset that people are like, giving super chats because, well, maybe they enjoyed what we do, right? And true. I'm not going to say like, some people were just excited to see that the interview was done. They were congratulating us for doing the interview.
They don't enjoy what you do. They enjoyed that you were bullying me. That's what it was. You were doing a whole stream, monetize the haters, and you were making money off of making fun of me, which is what everyone else does too.
Bill, why was I live? Because you were talking shit about us.
Yes.
So, okay, now on my stream, was I sitting there saying, hey, Craig haters, come on the stream and dump on Craig, and let's accept all the donations for everyone who doesn't like Craig. Let's talk about all Craig's dirty laundry on my stream today. Did I ever do that, Craig?
So, I don't know. I don't watch your stuff, but you're telling me...
No. I never did that, not once. The only gripes I ever had with you was that how you behaved after the interview. That's literally it. That's the only problem I have with you. I don't have a problem with anything before or during the interview. It was the fact you left the door open for me to contact you. You ignored that line of contact. You did a harmful show.
Didn't ignore.
Because you know what? Now I got to talk about this publicly. All right. Are you aware that because you didn't give me the chance to defend myself after the interview, you did a bullying show where you ragged on me and I wasn't there to defend myself against any of it? Do you know how that hurt me and my viewers and my content? You probably don't.
Hold on.
Yeah,
Let me just talk about this real quick. Europe, and by the way, this is something that I do want to talk about. You were upset that we went live and talked about this, and you were pissed that you weren't there to defend yourself.
Right.
You did a decompression show literally immediately after. You did a decompression show about Keemstar last week, and he wasn't there to defend himself. You did the exact same thing that we do, Phil.
Yep.
Whoa. You just proved you don't watch my decompression shows.
Yeah, who does?
I just proved it. The decompression shows have nothing to do with talking about and ragging on the guest that just appeared. In fact, last week with Keem,
what just happened?
Last week with Keem, I had a whole stream where I said, we are not going to talk bad about this man. Instead, we're just going to talk about the future, building bridges and things like that. We didn't say one negative word about Keem. I didn't accept negative contributions. I told my audience,
you didn't accept negative contributions?
And insult Keem.
How can you choose that?
Because that's wrong. That's capitalizing on an already bad situation. Because now I'm going to talk, Craig. Please let me speak, okay?
Go crazy.
After the interview, I had to cancel a whole fucking show that I had planned that was called DSP Asks It. I had guests lined up to be on the show that I was going to interview. It was a big project that I had lined up for my React channel. I had to cancel it because the guest said, well, after the Sidescrollers appearance, they really dumped on you. It's not the interview we have issue with. It's the fact that they dumped on you. So now literally everyone who saw your interview thinks you're an asshole. So because of that, we're canceling. So I had to cancel the whole show. My followers came out and said, we didn't mind the interview. I'm not done yet. Okay. Let me finish.
Okay.
After the interview, my followers said, we don't care about the interview. We care that they ragged on you after. Now it makes you look like an asshole. Now that makes us look like an asshole. We all want to be your fans, but how can we do it when the entire interview hates you now? Right? And you don't understand. What you thought you were doing was decompression. Let's just be honest. But what you did is you gave more avenue for the people who already hated me to hate more. All you did was you gave a public grandstanding spectacle to my detractors. And the worst part about it, Craig, you publicly monetized it. You monetized bullying. That's the problem with what you did the day after. You hurt my business. You hurt my followers. You hurt me. You owe me an apology for that. I don't care about you not checking the interview. The email. I care about the fact that you not once, but then again later down the line, monetized hate against me. I literally never monetized hate against you ever.
Okay.
Ever.
Remember? Felt the detractors, Phil?
Sure about that, Phil? You've never once monetized your hate against us? You never talked poorly about Sidescrollers?
Oh, I absolutely talked poorly about you, but I certainly didn't have entire shows based around it, inviting all of your detractors. Because you want to know something, Craig? They contacted me about this show. They said, here's all the dirt on Craig. And you want to know what I told them? This is the truth, Craig.
Okay,
I said, fuck
receipts.
you. Said, I'm not going to do that.
Receipts,
I'm better than
please.
that. I'm not going to talk about Craig's dirty laundry because that's not what this is about. I could have easily been doing that all along. Everyone has skeletons in the closet. We all know this, but I'm never going to be like that. I want to build bridges. I don't want to burn them. All right? At the end of this conversation today, I don't want to be at your throat. I don't want you to hate me. I just want us to be at peace. Even if we never speak again, I just want us to be at peace. I'm tired of this internet drama bullshit. But you hurt me bad with your behavior after that interview.
Okay.
And I want you to
Let him
understand
talk.
how bad it was for me. I had to hide for a year. And now to just show you, Craig, how different it could have been. Did you see my appearance on Keno Casino recently?
No.
And how different that went?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Keno Casino
No
was
one
a show
cares.
over on Kick. They had me on. We joked about everything. We joked about WWE champions ever. We made a big laugh about it. But they also treated me like a respectful human. They didn't monetize hate against me. We had fun conversation. We watched video clips. We laughed. You want to know what it was? I was a guest on their show. Like I was supposed to be a guest on your show.
They had
but never happened.
Brother, they had you watching a dude jerking off and asked for your expert opinion.
The interview. You want to know what happened? Public opinion has changed.
No,
Craig.
it has not.
You may not realize this. Right now,
No, it
people
has
like
not.
me
This
for the
is
first time in
DSP
ages.
redemption arc, right?
That's right. Because they gave me a chance. Because they didn't rag on me. They didn't bully me. They were bullying me. But once I personally talked to them nicely and say, hey, just have me as a guest, whoa, what the hell? So everything they say about you is actually isn't
I
true.
hope Craig
Not
says
all
something
of it,
about this
but
redemption arc.
The thing is,
Like, Phil, do you
that
really think they're your
being
friends?
treated
Do you really?
kindly instead of being bullied and being monetizing the bullying led me to a redemption arc where now I'm finally fessing up to all the stuff I've done wrong, and it's all changing for the better, right? That
Phil, you
could have
had-
happened with your interview, but
You
that's
ha-
not
no,
what
no,
you
no, no.
did.
We gave you an opportunity to fess up during the interview, Phil.
Which I couldn't do because I couldn't prove it during the interview. I had to get the information together, and I was going
So
to do
then
that.
you
and
endlessly
didn't
lied at that
give me
point.
the opportunity.
Well, no. Did you have any of that information available when you talked about this yesterday? All you did was you just talked. That's it. So all you
That's
needed to do 18 months ago was just talk, just like you did yesterday on your show.
No,
right?
whoa.
Be honest about it.
Now you're moving the goalpost. So first it was the only way anyone was going to believe you is if you sent me all the documentation during the show.
Well,
now
okay.
you're saying
I'll
I could have
give you
just
this.
said whatever.
I'll give you this. But I will give you that, right? Documentation would have helped your case 100%. With that said, Phil, like just you saying, yeah, I played WWE champions. Yeah. My name was this, whatever it was, right? And just saying those things, yeah, absolutely. That would have gone so far, right? And I feel like we extended the olive branch many times during that interview, right? And once again, you left that interview feeling good. Your point of contention is that after the show, we spoke honestly about our frustrations.
Yes.
Once again, why were we frustrated, Phil? Because we felt lied to, which was validated yesterday, literally yesterday. Later on, did I do a monetize the hater stream? 100%. Why? Because you were talking shit about me.
Yes.
Right? We've never gone out of our way to go off and say, hey, it's time to dump on Phil because it's fun to dump on Phil, right? We dumped because we were pissed at the time. The result of the interview, we felt lied to, once again, validated, and you were talking shit. So
validated.
Like, hey, and the idea of going live there was, let's go on Phil's show and hash it out like we're doing now. So look, Phil, I mean this. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you were hurt. I'm sorry that your community was hurt. And I'm sorry that you felt that way for a long time. That's why I'm on this show. I want to help you close the door with this chapter, right? I'm not your enemy. In fact, I've been your biggest champion. I've gone out of your way, as in that email. I want to help you get to level 2, whatever that looks like, right? I said that continuously in every single email correspondence we've had. I've said, hey, I want to let you know, let's get together, let's hash this out, let's move forward, right? Every single time, even when it comes to inviting you on the show, our 1 year anniversary. Hey, Phil, come on the show. Nothing serious. Let's just come on. It'd be fun. People would have it on. Hey, Phil, do you want Street Fighter 6 is coming out? You want to help hash this out? Let's just hash it out. Let's talk it out. It'd be a great way to build a bridge, which once again, that's something that you want to do. I listen, if we want to go with the build a bridge metaphor, I put down lots of wood over the last 18 months trying to build a bridge. And every single time the email wasn't responded to, or maybe you didn't check your email. I don't know, right?
I did check the email. It's just there's no way I'm going to be playing Street Fighter with a guy who doesn't play Street Fighter.
Okay.
Where I'm not going to benefit from it whatsoever. You will, because you're going to get another boost from my appearance on your show playing Street Fighter. I'm not going to get a boost from that.
Phil, we could have done it on your channel. That's the thing. You didn't even respond. But isn't that the fun of it? The idea that you play Street Fighter 6, you lay into me for fucking 9 matches, you destroy me, you're the definitive champ, and all of a sudden the king is back.
Nobody cares about that, Craig.
Okay,
no one cares about you playing Street Fighter. What are you talking about?
But they care about us getting together, and Street Fighter is the conduit to do that.
Yes.
That's what I'm getting at. Move past the idea of Street Fighter 6, Phil. It's bigger than Street Fighter 6. The idea was just get together.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, here's the thing. You just apologized to me because I was hurt.
Yes.
I want you to apologize to me because you
Fuck
did it.
you.
Because you know it was wrong.
No.
I don't think it was wrong.
Yes.
Because like I said,
Thank God.
Yesterday, as you said yesterday, you lied to us. You lied to us. We felt that lie. We knew it, we knew it was a lie. Look, was it reactionary? 100%. I'll say, yes, it was wrong in that it was reactionary with the monetize the hate stream, right? That was a reactionary thing. Am I proud of it? No. Right? And you know what, Phil? I'm going to do you one better. Give me a charity of your choice. Give me a charity of your choice. I will
know any
donate
charities.
That day on that stream, we made $633.08. I will donate $633.08 to a charity of your choice.
Scope,
Craig,
if that will help close the book.
If you actually cared about anything that you're saying right now, you already would have donated that money. So you can do with it however you want. But the fact is, you have done absolutely nothing in this appearance to show any kind of responsibility or remorse for the things that you did.
Because he doesn't feel it.
Me, my community, or my reputation after the interview. And you've publicly admitted you didn't check the avenue that you could have gotten actual evidence of what I was going to tell you about the truth. So
I did not check the email.
So I don't really know I can help you anymore at this point.
He doesn't need any help.
It's like I've been saying to everyone recently. What's happened in the last month and a half is pretty remarkable. All right. Basically, everyone for the last 10 years who really messed with me and hated on me, it's kind of all coming back.
No, it's not.
Now, in your case, you're definitely not egregious. Okay. I want you to understand something. After today, I have no grudge against you whatsoever. All right. I'm going to act like none of this ever happened. Really, I mean it too. I'm going to act like none of this ever happened. We're just going to move on with our life. You're going in one direction. I'm going in another direction. All right. But you have to understand that when you have a platform, you have a responsibility to be responsible with that platform. If you were going to have the big definitive Dark Side Phil interview, and even if you thought I had lied the entire interview, which I did about WWE champions, that's what I lied about. Okay.
Yes.
You still have a responsibility after the fact to follow up. That's what you didn't do. You actually didn't do the most important part. What you did was the equivalent of if, let's say, Barbara Walters was going to interview a big prominent person. I don't know. We're going to make this up. Barbara Walters was interviewing Donald Trump, okay? And she does an interview with Donald Trump, and she hits him with all the hard-hitting questions, and he answers with bluster and everything. And a lot of people don't believe Donald Trump or whatever. The next day, she goes on a public appearance where she literally says, I don't believe a word Donald Trump said. He's an asshole. He's a piece of shit. I don't like his hair. I don't like this. And then as she was doing it, all the sponsors of Democratic causes are sending money to the show because, oh, this is great. She's ragging on Donald Trump.
Sandwich shop metaphor, please.
That's literally what you did. That's not integrity. That's bullying for profit. All right.
No.
And the fact that you can't admit that you did this, you say you're sorry it hurt me, but you're not sorry you did it.
Here's the felting.
It speaks to your character. I didn't have to do anything. You literally just did it to yourself on the show. And that's the thing. I didn't have to monetize hate against you at all. You did it to yourself. And I'm not going to monetize hate against you ever.
It's not going to happen. There's not going to be a decompression stream after this where we shit on you at all. Because I don't have anything else to say once you're off this show. It's done. You did it. You did it yourself, my friend.
Just to be clear, so when Barbara Walters, who is dead, interviews Donald Trump, I think she's whatever. When
she passed away. Rest in peace.
Okay.
She was a great interview.
Yeah, thanks, Phil.
So she has this interview with Donald Trump. Is she not allowed to talk about it afterwards?
Oh, she could talk about it.
Yeah.
But she's not. Oh, she's not allowed to monetize hatred toward the person she just interviewed. And here's why. Here's why. No. Let me clarify why. Because if you're the interviewer, you're supposed to be fair and impartial, correct? During the interview. You were during the interview.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then, if that interviewer immediately discredits the person they just interviewed, there's not one fucking person who's going to go back and watch the interview with a fair take and a subjective glance at it and say, okay, so I will judge for myself if he told the truth. Okay? No one who watched the interview gave me that shot because you literally after the interview said, he's a bold-faced piece of shit liar. Let's laugh at him with his detractors. Ha 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 ha. Ack, 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 ack. Okay? So your interview originally was meant to be fair and balanced, and it became a hit piece because of what you did after. And I don't think you've ever really consciously known that, but it is. It's a giant hit piece against me, and it always will be.
Phil, you did it to yourself, man. You had an opportunity with all this. If it's a hit piece, it's your words. Your words.
Yes.
I was going to send you everything you asked for.
You had a chance to talk.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. You said with your own words, you thought it was a very fair interview.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
People look back on that interview, right? And they are upset about the interview. It's because of the response that you gave. Nobody's going back and watching the monetize the hate stream, or no one's going back and watching the decompression stream. What they're watching is the
interview.
DSP interview. And if they're upset about something that happened, or if they have if they think a certain way about you or me or Adam because of that stream, it's based off of the conversation that we had then, and not based around anything that happened afterwards, right? That's the main point of contact that people are watching. So look, you can try to put the noose around my neck all you want, right? And that's fine. Go ahead. If that's what makes you feel better, that's fine. But ultimately, Phil, it's your words. It was your lies that you told that led to the ultimate distrust with this stuff, Phil. And look, I'm sorry, man. Like, I hope that you can move past this. I hope that we have an opportunity to work together again in the future. I do. I genuinely do. Because I do think at your core, I do think that you are a good guy who just wants to play games and make positive content, right? And you know what? I think that's extremely admirable. But you can't be upset when we talk about something and somebody super chats about it, right? I'm sorry that happened. And I'm sorry that your detractors gave us money, right? But you know what? It's going to happen again. It happened today. Somebody super chatted $2, saying, hey, did you hear about this? Should I give that $1.40 back? Right? Like, I don't know how to handle that, Phil. And I'm not going to apologize for people who gave us money because they felt we either did a good job or we felt like we missed something, or did you hear about this? I'm not going to apologize for that. I told you I will gladly give that money to a charity, right? And I'll give it to a charity in your name, right? But if you don't want that, that's fine, and that's totally okay.
I'm speechless. You actually think that giving that money to a charity a year and a half later is going to somehow make you look good or something? Like, what are you talking about?
No. I hope that I could care less. What I care about is helping you move on.
Get past it.
Because you clearly are clinging on to this, right? And like I said, I'm sorry that this happened, right? But I'm not sorry for the words that you said, right?
Yes.
Once again, if somebody has the
I'm not sorry for the words you said.
Based off your actions, right?
That was
I'm
a high
live
line.
2 hours a day, 5 days a week. People see me, they know me by now, right? I've been doing this for almost 20 years. So people have a pretty good idea of me and my character. And for you to attack my character, I mean this with all due respect, Phil. Go fuck yourself, because you don't know. I've gone out of my way, Phil, to treat you with respect via email the entire time. I've gone out of my way to treat you with respect and be courteous to you continuously. And I'm sorry that you're upset that I didn't check my email for 23 hours. I'm sorry for that. And I'm sorry that I was pissed that you were talking shit about me, right? But I hope we can move past this. I really do. And I hope that this helps you turn the page. Will it do it? Probably not. But one thing that I do really hope is I hope that people don't send you super chats in regards to me. But no, I hope people send you lots of money in regards to me. I hope I'll be the first one talking about myself. And I'll send you a super chat momentarily here in just a few minutes.
I don't want you to send me any super chat, Craig.
But I want to. Well,
I can't stop you. If you really have to do it, I mean, I can't stop you from doing it. I don't want any money from you. I don't want anything from you. Really, at this point. Like, you literally, in a situation here where we were being completely cordial, you just told me to go fuck myself publicly on the stream. You realize that, right?
Why?
I didn't do it. You did.
Why? Because you attacked my
No, not why.
Yeah, you attacked his character.
I just had an entire show with Keem last week.
Who gives
I have
a fuck?
way more gripes with Keem than I have with you, and that never happened.
Did you attack Keem's character?
No.
Oh, yeah, of course I
No.
did. And he went back at me, and we went back and forth, and we hashed it out.
No, that's not.
Then Keem should have told you to go fuck yourself.
Boom.
All right, so there you go. Folks, there you have it.
Boom.
There you have it. Night and day. I mean, you can't. That's all. I mean, really, honestly. But we're over. I'm sorry. I'll apologize for two things. I'll apologize, number one, that I did lie to you during the interview.
Which
that was
led
wrong.
to everything we're talking about.
That was wrong. And
Yep.
number two, I apologize to the public that I lied for so many years, but I already did that last night on my own show, so they already know about
Who cares?
that. All right? And I'll apologize to you now because we're taking too much of your time, and I know you got to get going. All right?
So let me close with this.
You close, and then I'll close, and we'll be good.
Okay.
You close first.
I want you to really think about your actions here, right? Think about this logically. Please do.
This is so
Why
good.
were we pissed the next day?
Mm-hmm.
Why? I'm asking you. Why were we pissed?
Oh, you want me to answer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds to me like you wanted me to come clean on your show and get a really great piece of content out of it because it was going to be the definitive time when DSP admits to everything that everyone's been saying that he's been doing so long.
Just wanted the
And when
truth,
I
brother.
didn't do that.
Just
You
the
basically
truth.
had a nothing burger of an interview. 5 hours of a nothing burger of an interview. But it was good for my detractors. They wanted to crap on me, so it was a good piece for them. But you didn't have anything for anyone else. So it didn't give you what you were looking for in the product. That was the problem. You were really hoping you were going to get the big confession. That's why you kept putting me on the spot.
They just wanted
about
the truth.
Send me the screenshot. Send me the screenshot when we had never discussed that before the interview. You didn't get it.
So-
You got upset about it. And that's why you didn't check your email because you couldn't get the moment anymore in the interview. You thought you had wasted 5 hours of your time. And what you said was, well, now I'm going to get him back for that tomorrow. I'll make that money in this nice destruction show that we'll do on Friday. That's actually what happened.
You're wrong about all that.
Okay, fair enough. But you asked me for my opinion, so there you go.
Sure. And that also tells me where your head's at. We were mad because we were lied to.
Yes.
Had you not lied, none of this would have happened. If you were just clear and honest with us, like you've been with like you were yesterday, everything, none of this would have happened. We could have moved on. It would have been like, yeah, did we think it was full of shit? That's fine. And would the Friday stream have happened the way it did? Probably not. Right? Would the monetize the hater stream have happened? Probably not. Because if you just were honest from the start, none of this would have happened.
Yep.
So you can point the finger at me all day long. But at the end of the day, Phil, what's the old saying? You still got 3 more pointing back, right? Back at you. So look, I'll take my responsibility. I hope you look within yourself and you take some responsibility in this as well, right?
Nope.
And that's fine. I do hope that we can eventually work together in the future in some way, shape, or form. Maybe you come on Sidescrollers and we do a regular show. If you don't want to deal with a politics-driven show that isn't whatever you said, right? You were extremely nice with your words, and by nice I'm being sarcastic right now. And when you told us to go fuck ourselves and all that stuff, so I would like to give you a fair shake someday on Sidescrollers if you're open to it. Like I said, I want to make sure that you and everybody else knows that I am open to working with you in some way, shape, or form. But I hope more than anything, I hope you're honest, not just with your audience, but with yourself about the situation. I appreciate your time today, Phil. I got some dad duties I got to get done. Thank you guys very much for your time.
All right. Now hold on. Before you go, let me say my piece too. All right.
Sure.
Well, it'll be quick. I promise.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is it. This is the end. There's no more feud between you and me. Do you agree? That's it. We're done. We can stop going at each other's throats.
Phil, I haven't had a feud with you for 18 months, man.
That's fine. Okay, whatever you say, monetize the haters, but you don't have a feud with me. You want me to play Street Fighter with you. You don't have a feud with me. You want me back as a guest on your anniversary show because you know it's going to bring you hype and attention from my detractors, but you don't have a feud with me. Okay, but okay, fair enough. You don't have a few, but we're agreeing to this now. It's over, right? We're done.
Yeah,
We're good.
It's over. Yeah.
Okay, so, and you were asking me now, a year and a half later, will I be a guest on your show? Which was what originally was agreed to, correct? Like, that's what you're saying. It was originally, that was the agreement. We were going to do the interview. And then after that, I was going to have the opportunity to be a regular guest on your show like everyone else had been, correct?
Right.
That was the agreement.
And after the interview, I sent you that email saying like, we were just disappointed, right? And the offer wasn't there anymore after the interview because we felt lied to.
Okay, so now
with that said, I hope we can move past it.
that's what I'm saying. Now that we've hashed it all out, right?
This
We're all
is
good.
he wants to end with a felt.
You're saying you're extending that olive branch, and you're saying that that opportunity is there again, possibly not a lock-in, but it's possible that I could be on your show.
Is a
Sure.
joke coming.
Okay, I'm not interested. Go fuck yourself. Okay, all right, guys. So that is
Wow.
the appearance of Stuttering Craig on the Level 1 podcast. I hope that you all enjoyed it very, very much.
All
It was
right.
a good one, right?
Very mature
hope that,
handling of that situation, Philip. Very mature.
All right.
Very
So here's
mature.
what I'm going to do. I'm going to shut the stream down, and I'm going to do a decompression stream right now. But I need to shut everything down because I can't appear on camera right now because my camera cannot work in this video and on the stream as well as in OBS. Like Discord had an issue there. So all I have to do, I have to shut everything down. So I'm going to end the video here. Those who watched the interview, thank you. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'm going to be right back live on the stream. Okay? So let's do that. I'll literally be right back live on the stream with the decompression. All right?
My sister's not being abused.
Wow. Wow. When you this is it. When you can't get a felt with your words, you go to a children's tactic of pulling the plug. That is what a toddler does. When you can't get your way through your words, what do? You choose a baby's way out. Couldn't get the felt you wanted with your words because Craig so beautifully dismantled all of the arguments. What does Philip Burnell choose? To pull the plug on it.
Be right back, everybody.
This is what I can call a self-felt because holy shit, the man-child vibes that are reverberating through this studio right now are going to bust the fucking roof off. So we see when Philip has to deal with an adult conversation, someone that's not actually trying to get future content out of him like Keemstar was, this is what happens.
King.
And honestly, I do thank Keto Casino for that because this is too fucking good. Oh, man. The man baby coming out, and you know he's going to come back thinking he's all smug and shit. Wait till the internet hears that, man. This is how the arc will end. Because it's kind of hard to defend someone that has not only lied about WWE champions for 7 years, not only told the 11-year-old he's going to slap the shit out of her and double down on that lie, not only telling his ex to take a pill and leave her somewhere, he is now the biggest baby of the internet. In addition to once being an e-bagger, a mobile game addict, we can now write
Guys,
man-child
my sister's not being abused.
to that list, and I wonder if he's going to add that.
Are we good?
To the
Is
Twitter
it working now? I had some technical
profile
issues there. My
anytime
camera
soon.
actually crashed, and I had to redo everything. Are we good now? Is
Amazing.
everything working and everything, guys? Here? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Are we good?
Craig tweeted. I kind of want to see what Philip says too, but I will check the tweet. A lot of moving parts here, obviously.
We're good? We sound good?
I do
Okay, hold
have to
on.
be out of here in like an
I just
hour.
wanna change
so I'll read
my,
out Super
my
Chat, though, I
background
promise,
now.
but I do got to move here. I will see what Craig said. I don't think that's going to get the response he wanted.
Okay.
You
That's
chose
better.
to break the law. Live
Actually, I
with
think
the
I have to turn it off
consequences.
and on again to get it to work.
Yep.
Make sure. All right. We're good? Cool. We're going to eat a lunch meat sandwich. All right. Are we ready to start?
My sister's face is
Are we ready? All right, let's begin. My hair's all screwed up from the headphones now.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, everyone, what's going on? Welcome to the Decompression stream and show after the Stuttering Craig appearance here on the Level 1 podcast. And, I mean, essentially what I like to do, by the way, my hair's all screwed up because I was wearing headphones, so now look, it looks like I have a big dent in my head, so of course you're all going to make jokes about me being dented and stuff, and that's fine. That's to be expected, right? So, anyway, wow. That was a very, very interesting appearance, don't you guys think? Like, to be honest, now I'm going to be honest here, okay? I don't want this whatsoever to be a monetized hate against Stuttering Craig segment of the show.
You
That's
can't
not
say
the
that
intention here.
anymore.
He literally said in that he thinks that's what I do. And I told him, well, don't you watch my content? And he goes, well, no. I said, I don't do that. I don't do entire segments where I monetize hate against people. I would never, I don't do that. That's why I'm like wondering why you did it to me, right?
Holy shit, Thesis, thank you,
and I'll just
sir.
go ahead and I'll just say
You're a
this.
legend.
All right. The reason that I ended the show like I did was very simple. All right. It's very simple.
I couldn't handle Craig's truth bombs, and I was so frustrated without I can't talk, because I couldn't get a felt on him. I chose to pull the plug like a toddler.
He didn't show me respect.
Yes, he
literally
did.
told me, and you guys don't know this.
Yes,
you didn't see
he
it yet.
did.
He actually told me to go fuck myself during the show when I was being incredibly cordial with this man. I didn't betray him. I didn't snake him. We didn't have special guests to crap on him. There was no gotcha moments. There was no, oh, here's a bunch of questions about your past that you weren't expecting. I was as cordial as I possibly could be with that man.
No, and
right? Was I not?
Yeah. After you told him to go fuck himself so many times this year, that's where we're
And
going.
I tried my best, but over the course of that interview, he literally did things I didn't expect he would do. He actually
He actually what? Brought receipts and dismantled my arguments with surgical precision?
exposed himself by reading our email correspondence, which I was like, dude, there is no way he's going to read it because it makes him look bad. And then he did.
Yeah, because it doesn't look
I was
look
like,
bad.
what? Like,
Craig's going live right now, apparently.
I can't imagine.
What do you want
right?
to watch, boys?
I can't
What are you
imagine
doing?
that he would have done that. And then by the end, again, instead of
Damn it.
manning up and apologizing for what he did, he insulted me and told me to go fuck myself.
All right, I'll tell you when Craig starts. I'll
you
watch
really
it.
think that I was gonna spend any time with that? Like, what are you talking about, right? You know, so absolutely ridiculous. But you want to do contrasting stuff, like I said.
Yeah.
Okay. I absolutely, positively, 100% had bigger beef
I'll get
with
it.
Keemstar.
I'm getting the link.
All right, than I ever did with Stuttering Craig, right? But look how the Keemstar interview went.
Because Keemstar wants to blow smoke up your ass, so you keep collaborating with more people so we get gold dust just like this.
And look how the Craig interview went, right? Night and day. Because Keemstar, he gets the game. He understands how it works, right? He really does. And he knows
Guys,
how
my
to
sister's
behave
not
himself,
being abused.
how to read the room, how to do things properly. I'll give him credit for that. I don't agree with all the things he does. Keemstar does a lot of, immoral things, I feel.
I got Craig's stream on the other monitor. I'll let you know when he goes live. We'll switch over there.
But man, he showed me respect. We literally just talked about this last week, that if you treat someone with kindness and respect, they'll reciprocate. It's the golden rule.
So what about the 18 months of shit that I've played before the interview started that you said about him?
Showed Craig, nothing but kindness and respect. I was trying to be nice with him. He decided to read things that I had no idea he would ever even read, and basically self-felt it himself, and I mean, I cannot help the man. I just can't. I tried. I was like, maybe we could get him to just say he's sorry and he'll look better and then we can just move on, and he wouldn't do it.
Because he has nothing to apologize for.
He said he was sorry that my feelings were hurt and that my viewers' feelings were hurt. He literally didn't apologize for the heinous thing he did, public bullying that was monetized, which wasn't part of the agreement of me being on his show. And then, by the way, he didn't do it once. He did it again, and he did it again. He kept doing it. It wasn't like, a one-time thing. He kept doing it. So that was pretty crazy, in my opinion.
Guys, my sister's
I
not
wasn't
being
expecting
abused.
that. To be honest, I really, really thought
he would just buy all my bullshit and apologize.
that was going to go like the Keemstar interview, But, you know, I guess that's kind of the nature of getting into this kind of stuff. And me, I'm new to it, right? I'm totally new to this kind of shit.
Big ups, Columbia
I
Detractor.
thought 100% it was going to go cordial and then he acts like that. I mean, when he told me to go fuck myself, I was like, holy shit, like.
Wow, I've said that 18,000 times in the last 18 months. I didn't expect someone to say that back to me.
What on earth? Like, okay. Wow. I think that, so he's trying to save face and shit.
No, he's not.
And then he does, like. So, I mean, and by the way, after he tells me to go fuck myself, he actually thinks that I'm going to want to be on his show. On what universe do you think that would happen? He actually, I had him going. You saw that, right? At the end, I had him going. He actually thought I was interested in being on the show because he was going, oh, yeah, you could come on. Oh, my God. Oh, cool. Yeah. Josh Moon, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah?
You know, Josh Moon, absolutely, positively, 100%. It was respectful to me in every way. And we don't agree at all. We don't agree.
Craig was extremely, extremely respectful.
Agree with each other at all on that shit, right? Okay, so anyway, what we need to do is we need to do shout outs. And if a lot of these things are very negative towards Craig, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Yeah. I'm going to be a man of my word. I'm not going to sit here and have this be a shooting gallery and an attack on Craig. I promised him that. We're not going to do that. If it's other messages or positive things, but if it's things like, oh, fuck that guy, I'm not going to be going crazy reading that. All right, that's not what this is about. It's not what this was about to begin with. But I'll tell you this, like, that is it for me. Like, I have nothing else to say about the guy. That interview will speak for itself with the way he behaved. I don't
yeah, it will. It will.
Need to say or do anything else. Like I said, in all these situations, these people are actually doing this to themselves. You understand? They're actually like self-felting. I didn't even really need to have to do much there. He's like, oh, I want to read the emails. Like, you actually want to prove that you ignored me at a time when you said that I should send you the information that you wanted to prove.
And how he rationally and calmly just explained how that's not ignoring when he didn't know it was there, and he actually has an actual family that are not declawed.
Everything going on. Because the truth is, all of this would have come out a year and a half ago. That day after the interview, I would have sent him the stuff about WWE champions. He would have had it. And then that Friday would have been a completely different show. But he just couldn't be bothered to be a professional and read his email and shit. You know, I was like, wow, you leave that.
Couldn't bother to be professional.
23 you say, hours. Send it to me via email. I'm about to do it. You ignore me, and then you rag on me. Okay. So, I mean, again, I didn't do it.
Yep.
I just...
Correct.
Yeah, I wish him, and I will publicly say this, I wish him the best. I really do. Even though I told him to go fuck himself because it was just me retaliating against what he said.
Okay, so again, Philip tells you right there he wanted to be the bigger man, but chose not to.
Best. His show has taken off. It's a political show. He thinks it's not. It's political. It's totally politics and culture war shit and stuff like that. He basically went down the same route as many other people, and he's found success doing that. Kudos to him.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm done with that shit. You know, there's nothing at all. All
right, Craig is it.
For me to talk about with this guy anymore. I want no involvement with him. I want no content with him. He actually thinks.
All right, no, I don't need to hear the man baby anymore.
Darth Spaghetti came in, says, man, child, Phil.
If he's just reading Super Chats too, that won't be very interesting. We'll see,
Appreciate that. PC Gamer 999 with no message.
Yeah, if it's like this, it might not be that interesting.
Thank you for that.
Might take him a while to warm up to
I did have daddy duties to do, but talked to my wife real quick, and she said, hey, you got about 30 minutes. So here we are.
Guys, my sister's not being abused.
Marina came in. Said, what a lol coward.
Lol coward. That's pretty hype.
Thanks, Marina. Appreciate that. Mr. Extravagant.
All right, we'll kind of go back. We'll go back. Let's see what he's doing here.
It would have been because he has detractors. He just ignores them, which is wise. Dude, they sent me like a manifesto.
Okay, Philip.
I'm not even shit.
Prove
like,
it.
They sent me so much shit about him that
Prove it.
and I looked at it briefly, and I'm like, I'm not gonna entertain this.
This is meaningless.
I'm like, dude, I don't need to know about this man's history,
meaningless.
about the shit 15 years ago, about all this nonsense, fucking such. I don't want to say it because I don't want to get the guy in trouble for anything because that's not what the point was. It was just stupid.
Yeah.
Why am I going to bring that shit up? But it was crazy. This guy has it, and it's just like, yeesh, right? So anyway, thank you, Andy. Andy had done another super chat here. Oh, I can actually click on these.
Yeah,
Hold
you got to
on.
read the negative ones about Craig. I'm sure you're going to get a lot of them. I thought that's
Can you do
beneath
this?
you. We don't want to do
Oh, well,
that.
Phoenix Arch just did one and it trumped it. He says, oh, he basically insulted Craig and the mic. Yeah, he was having mic issues. That's not his. I mean, Discord is kind of wonky. I don't fault him for having Discord issues and having the mic be screwed up. That's that's neither here nor there. We got it fixed, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Annie Antics with a membership. Thank you, Annie Antics. Andy with 10 gifted memberships.
Oh my God!
Thank
Now
you
they're both
so-
doing it.
Thanks,
We
Alejandro.
got dueling super chats back and forth.
Appreciate that. Walker came in. with
What do I
Canadian
do
money.
now?
Says Phil is
Want to
the
watch this? How you don't play?
biggest coward I've ever seen. All your arguments were flawless. He acted like a child the entire time. He made himself look like a
Yeah, I
fool.
could read my super chats. I could do that.
Thank you, Walker.
Okay, I'll do the same. I will keep.
Appreciate that. Mo Slizlak. Hey, Mo. Great to
Okay, so let's do this. I will. Yeah, Craig's chat is way more
99.
super chats than Philip. So like, I think Philip might give us more content if when he
This
runs
isn't shitting
out.
on the guy. This is facts. He read it, not me. You're on an interview. He
Why don't I let everyone just read super chats at the same time?
hit you with a surprise question. Will you provide evidence of what you're saying to prove your innocence or whatever? Now I'm thinking in my head, well, the truth is, the whole WWE Champions thing. I don't want to get into it now because I talked about it last night over on DSP Reaction. You can check it out. The entire story's been explained, right?
Here's the thing. I
Now,
can
I'm like, here's
have
the truth. It's very convoluted, right? Very convoluted.
I can have yeah, I'll just do that. Sadly I can't do both of the I can't have both audience say, "Oh yes, I can. I'm lying. I can figure this out."
Can't
I'm a
just
legend.
even really
Hold on.
do it. This is good. I'm going to do it.
Hang on.
And
I'll
then
do
he
it.
just never
Give
gave
me
me
a
that
second.
chance. He literally destroyed me on his show the next day. And then he did what he did. And then later on, he sends me a condescending email about,
He read
we
it.
just wish you the
Wasn't
best.
that
Literally, he
condescending?
just did a bullying stream. We monetized all my detractors, right? And now you're going to say you wish me the best? No, you don't. You literally don't. You proved that with your actions, right? Anyway.
Wasn't that condescending? He
Purple
read
Pickle
it.
Yum Yum, thank you for the super chat. He did a couple of them. He actually wanted us to kiss. That's pretty disturbing. I don't know how we were going to kiss through the internet. And I wouldn't kiss him regardless, but that's pretty disturbing. Boniface Enjoyer did a super chat and says the king always wins. Thank you. Smarty did a super chat and it is kind of insulting towards Craig, so I'm not going to read it.
I'm not going to read it. My bad. I'll fix
Carterian
it.
Truth
There
did
we
a
go.
super chat. He did apologize. You're letting ego disrupt. Oh, he apologized, but did you hear what he apologized for? He apologized for the fact that my feelings were hurt and my viewers' feelings were hurt.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't actually apologize for the bad action. In fact, he's like, I don't know if it would have happened again. Like, he's basically saying he might have done it again, too. He thinks it's okay. That's ridiculous. If you don't apologize for the action, it means nothing, right? It means nothing at all.
Because he had nothing to apologize for.
Let's see here. Volsair did a super chat and said, Craig is a nice guy. Well, there you go. We have someone for Craig. And then Boniface and George did a super chat and he said total Craig defeat. I don't think it was total
Hold
Craig.
on.
Fucking dare you for a mock and bother you, remember, right? Listen, this is, to be clear, this is not, and I will not stand for a monetize the hater stream. This is
it's a meme.
Not that. How fucking dare you, people, with your support? All
It's
right?
a meme. It's a meme. I thought it was real.
How
It's a meme.
dare you? Unbelievable. P to always.
All right, that was a meme. All right, let's go.
Going that route.
Sorry, disappointing meme.
Okay. But,
My bad.
you know.
I don't know. It's
Wow.
tough. It's tough to keep
Okay.
track of things.
All right. Let's see here. Oh, Blackjack did he became a member for 5 months and then he did a super chat and he said Craig went out of character. He's not cordial when he's upset.
Great question, big
so I
guy.
think what Blackjack Yak is saying is he feels like I basically did get to him. You know what I'm saying? I did get to him, and that's why he said that. Like he actually got genuinely upset that everything that he had done on this show basically kind of like exposed who he is as a person. Like he said, what, 20
he basically
years
said that
on the internet, and this show, now you're not going to say negative things about my character. That's the thing.
Right.
I did it. He did.
Right.
I didn't do it. He did. He proved how disingenuous he was the entire time through his actions. I didn't do it. He read the emails and everything. I didn't. Again, this is the same with my detractors doing it. It's the same with Rich falling apart. They're doing it to themselves. I don't have to do anything. I didn't have to see.
You could say Rich fell apart. That one is not. That one is not a lie. No one on Earth, except for the people trying to blow smoke up your ass right now, could say Craig did anything to himself to lower anyone's thoughts of him at all.
The charity stuff is insanely fucking weird.
If you have a brain.
By the way, I'm being told right now he's live on stream.
Yeah.
And he is accepting donations from my detractors. And he has $400 right now.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
So does that sound genuine? By the way, he had to go because he had family stuff to take care of. That's what he told me. He says, I got to go in 90 minutes because I have family things I have to do. So it has to be a 90-minute
Manual
interview.
style.
That's why I rushed the ending like that. But he's on stream right now accepting donations from my detractors, huh? Gee, that seems like a really genuine person, doesn't it? It's very interesting.
Yes.
He literally said it on my stream too, you know? What? But he's on stream now. Okay. Let's continue. So by the way, because people are saying contribute to the coffers, people have tipped. I'm not reading it out yet. I'm getting to the YouTube contributions first. Then we're going to get to the tips, okay? So very well, we may have hit this, we may not. I have no idea.
You did. I guarantee you did. You know.
Okay, let's continue. Bungus says, who was the guest? Phil, answer the question. What are you talking about?
Yeah, who was the guest? Because you talk so
I was
fucking
the
much.
Guest on his show. Or he was the guest today on my show. I have no idea what you're talking about. Volsair, in a super chat, he says, Phil the Bridge Builder. Yes.
Oh, burping. Correct.
Oh, Bungus says, please tell us the guest who refused to come on after the Sidescrollers pile-on stream. Invite them on now for an interview.
Yeah, please.
I have.
If they exist.
I told you, I reached out to quite a few people. And I'm sorry to say that one of the people who had agreed to come on isn't talking to me. They just, you know, after that happened, they basically said, you know, I can't take the risk. And now they're not talking to me anymore. So I can't have them on. They refused to respond because of that, because that happened. Literally, because that appearance last year happened the way it did and the way that they turned me into basically a villain after the interview. This person literally has shut off all communication.
Yeah, maybe they just don't like liars, huh? You ever think about that option?
With me.
Admitted liars.
I can't do that interview now.
Which is, it's no longer speculative. It is a liar.
Right? Okay. Let's see here. Richard did a super chat. He thinks Craig's a liar. Now, I'm not going to call him a liar.
Okay,
I'm not the man. He was just on here and said, I just don't check my email. I don't know why you would have someone on your show as a guest, tell them to send you information via email that's critical to the story of the interview you just did, and then not check your email. I just don't understand that. But maybe I'm logical thinking and he's not. My line of thought is
logical
that
thinking.
Basically, that's
Better
not what
refund
his
that one,
intention
Philip.
was. After the interview ended, he didn't
That was
care what the
negative
real
towards
story
Craig. I hope
was.
you refund
He just
that.
wanted to benefit now from it. Because like I said, the interview was a nothing burger. It's 5 hours. It's very boring. He didn't get the confession, which we never talked about me confessing to anything in the interview. He tried to get me with that, and he didn't get it, and he was very upset. So he had to spin it in a way that he was going to personally benefit from, right? So
Correct, DC.
He didn't care if I had information to actually send him to prove anything anyway. He didn't give a shit. That wasn't what it was all about to begin with. In my opinion, I could be wrong. Genuinely, he may have just not checked the email, but I mean, that's still completely unprofessional, right? Someone just gave you 5 hours of their time. You asked them to follow up. They follow up, and you ignored them. Let's see here. Big Bill did a super chat and insulted me. That's good, so I'm just not going to read it.
Oh, okay.
Ted did a super chat.
Wonder who that
Excellent.
was.
Felting the King's Vengeance is a just cause. That was, I mean, honestly, that was not really a felting, right? At all. That was me.
Yeah, I agree.
Having
It was more of a toddler move. Like unplugging the Nintendo game, unplugging your Nintendo when you start to lose at Mario Kart. That's really what it was. Can't really call that a felt, can you?
Conversation with him, and he just the emails. There wouldn't have been that evidence because I'll be honest, I didn't have the email in front of me. I could have got it. I knew I wasn't gonna need it. I'm serious. I knew I wasn't gonna need it.
Ooh, big ups, LR.
Big Bill did a super chat, but I mean, excuse me, Big Boss did a super chat, but it is insulting Craig directly. I'm not going to read that.
Oh, okay.
Luthace did a super chat, and he says Craig is live now talking shit. I know because we just you guys just told me. Phoenix Arts did a super chat. Hold on tight to the last chip. What do you mean, this chip?
No, he means
that
your
chip ain't going nowhere at this point. Seriously. Zebby Bo Bebby with 27 months in a row says, "Oh, this insult. I'm not going to read that." And Purple Pickle Yum Yum, there you go.
He hates Purple Pickle Yum Yum.
Super chat. But you have to understand that if he is live right now monetizing the detractors again, all he did was prove the point, right? Like literally.
No.
So in his mind, it's a win-win.
He gave you a chance to end the interview amicably, and he said his piece, and then let you say your piece, and you chose to end it that way. So that changed his mind a little bit, didn't it?
He squashes the beef with me, and I'm on his podcast. That's big. He'll get views, he'll get attention from the haters, right? If it ends not amicably anymore, right? That's good because now he gets attention and he monetizes the haters.
I thought we were going for a joke,
it's just
honestly,
about monetizing the haters. It always has been. It always will be. That's the only reason he even agreed to be on the show, because he could do it again. I mean, he's literally once again proving it by himself. I don't have to do anything at all. I don't have to lift a finger at these people. It's pretty funny.
Oh, it is funny. I'll tell you that. He's doing orders of magnitude better than you, even in your Kino Casino arc.
Now
every day on his stream. So yeah, he's really coping, isn't he? He's coping and
now
seething.
Gaia is saying Craig isn't talking shit. People are lying. I spent 10 minutes there. His supporters are talking shit, not him.
Yes.
He's telling people not to send him money.
Yes.
Well, wait. Why don't you do
Similar
this?
to what you're doing.
Craig, why don't you just tell your supporters to donate to charity? Right? If this is the big thing, right? Because, again, you got to save face. Why don't you just tell your supporters right now, which is not your supporters, it's the detractors of mine who are doing this, by the way. Why don't you just tell them to all send their contributions to a charity right now? Right?
Yeah, do it. That's fine. That's cool. He can do whatever he wants with his money, similar to how you did whatever you want with your donators' money. There
you go.
Sound good?
I don't want you to send the money you made during my show to charity, but every time that someone's
see how you can flip that around very
send
easily.
It to charity. If that's I mean, if you're being serious, if you're being if you're being genuine, do it.
He doesn't need to. Yeah, correct.
He's telling people not to tip, but he's reading out every tip in Super Chat.
Yeah. Why not?
Okay.
Similar to what Philip's doing right now?
All right, let's continue. So, now we're going to get the tip shout-outs, okay? And it doesn't look like we've hit the tip skull, just so you guys know, but let's start reading these out. So, I received a $20 tip actually early this morning. This was from correct? Yes, because here's the thing.
Sorry.
Me playing a mobile game shouldn't matter at all to anyone, right?
That would be true. And unfortunately, you pity beg them for over a decade, not over a decade actually, but many, many years, asking fans to save your house, smash the taxes. If all of that didn't happen, you would be correct in this statement. But unfortunately, you did.
Me playing a mobile game shouldn't matter at all to anyone, right? Now, obviously, there's a problem there. I'm playing a mobile game. I'm spending. I shouldn't have been doing that. Correct? I think we can all agree on that, right?
Is that a question?
If I come out and say publicly, yeah, I'm doing it.
Is that a
first
serious
of all, it's
question?
no one's business anyway, right? Whoever was, it's a guy playing a mobile game, and the way that the detractors were grossly over exaggerating everything about it, the amount of spending and shit, which is not true. It would have made me look horrible. Correct?
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah, I had to basically lie, and I was just like, you guys, I don't want to talk about it anymore.
I'm tired of lying.
Keep bringing it up. So, again, but we talked about this last night. I don't want to talk about it again. That's not the point. To keep talking about it endlessly. It's already been admitted in everything, and I think we're good on that regard. Okay? But thank you. There's a $20 tip, and I'm well aware of what's coming up tonight. Because Darren says tonight there's going to be,
yeah, that'll be fun. I'll see you back for that,
I know
right,
what's
guys?
coming up tonight.
That should be a fun fucking time.
I haven't watched it, but we already skimmed through all the topics.
Holy fuck.
I know what they all are. There's not going to be any, oh my God, blindsiding, I don't think, and the rest of it. I think we're pretty good at this point.
Fake leaks are kind of...
But I do
That'd
have
be
to find the
something.
$20 tip animation.
Oh yeah, very important. I got about like 7 more minutes, and I got to start reading my super chat so I can get out of
So
here.
that was
on time.
Darren.
I cannot, unlike Craig, get out of my daddy duties. Yes, I am watching tonight. I will be there. I didn't make the. I didn't make the thumbnail yet. I don't have a thumbnail ready, but I'll be there. Don't worry. I will definitely be live.
All right. Let's get started here with all of this. Holy crap!
Yeah.
I got a $2.25 tip
Let's see
from
what Craig's
Sour
doing.
Nipple.
Sour nipples.
On-
Oh, my bad. Here. Ooh, not that.
Says a liar talking about integrity and character. Blue Pit says you handled yourself like a true professional. Congrats. Enjoy you dissecting his whole perspective. Are you the king now? Ack, ack, ack. I was never not the king.
Ooh, okay.
Sayer came and says, ack, ack, ack. What? Stop! Stop that! Stop! Skongasm says he lied.
So that's the meme that Craig is doing is like, stop saying bad stuff about Philip while he does it. You know what I'm saying? Okay. I will start to read my super chats from other legends. I do have to get out of here on time. I have to. And plus, we're coming back tonight. We're coming back tonight more. What a fucking week, man. I don't know if I'm going to survive this week. So if you want to watch, go over. Let me see if anyone else is streaming. Give you a link to go if you want to watch, watch it unfold live. Because I do want to give you that option, obviously. So Raw Phil, I'll give you the link for Raw Phil at the moment. And if someone else is streaming, let me know, and I'll send you there as well. But here's the link here. I want to be as open and honest as I can. Here you go. There's Raw Phil if you want to watch it. Want to watch over there. Craig said he's saying he's going to release the emails. I mean, yeah, go ahead, because they look fine for him. You know what I mean? And a person not afraid to share something usually has nothing to hide. Someone that has a lot to hide, someone that has a lot of things they want not... I'm fucking this up so fucking bad, but you know what I'm saying. A person that has nothing to hide is not afraid of sharing anything, okay? A person that has a lot to hide does not want to share anything. And in fact, they'll give you time brackets to send the emails. Stuttering ALT, yes. So people that have nothing to hide are happy to share everything. Oh, there you go. Snoot said it correctly. Truth does not fear investigation. He got that from ChatGPT. Big up Snoot for that. I know he didn't think of that himself. So truth does not fear investigation.
I appreciate that.
All right, let me get link that in. Here we go. Hang on, let me get the. Where is it? Where is it? We're working together here. Okay, here we go. Now we'll. Oh, let me write that better. Raw Phil, go right here. Okay, good. Okay, the action is not stopping, but we do have to get out of here at some point. So I'll keep this on the screen. There is Raw Phil if you want to go check out Raw Phil and keep up with this. The king beheaded himself. I like it. That's an interesting way to say it. And he thought he got the ultimate felled at the end. What a fucking bitch, man. There's nothing else you can say. That's bitch behavior, dude. That's nothing else you can say. That's it. That's all you can say. Salute Your Snorts. I had the song. I don't know if I have time to check out the song Salute Your Snorts, but we will watch it today, okay? We'll definitely watch it today. Tonight, I should say. Aloha Snack... Yonahal said... Aloha Snack Bar says, your coverage of this shit show has been top tier and big ups to chat. Big ups, Aloha Snack Bar. Yonahal says, did you catch the fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on Ree clip that DSP dropped? I did not see that yet. I did read some of these already, so I want to skip past the ones I did not read. Vike says, thanks for the whole week, LT. You made it lots of fun. Big ups. You are a legend. Thank you so much for that. You made it awesome. Jay Musso says, he talks like a 5th grader. Whoa, so tough. I read that one as well. ES volunteering for Melanie Mack. Copeside Phil says, hopefully he'll tell Phil what he really thinks of him. I mean, it's not like Phil's a coward or anything. Oh, definitely not. And you were proven so far correct. So far correct. See you, Red Keld. You're a legend, brother. Thank you for hanging out today. You were proven correct, Copeside Phil, how many hours ago this was. Francisco Ramos Mejia says, I can't wait until he says he felted Craig, or that Craig self-felted. Uh-huh. He felted Craig. Don't get it twisted. Craig's over 1,000 in super chats. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. Craig was definitely monetizing the haters here. But because it gets Phil angry, it's delicious. I support it. I support it 100%. Big ups, Tony T. He's going to be a coward. Frail built boy. Tony T, you were right. Holy shit, Tony T. Tony T, you were right. When in Gout said, Craig, you are someone who... Copeside Phil says, Phil's a critic of Craig, but let's ignore that. Let's forget that I told him to go fuck himself, right? Remember? Sound good? Putty says, odds on either side blaming Adam for what happened? Well, if you bet on it, you would have lost your money, Putty. But yeah, there was a chance of that happening at some point. Skreller Tick, Father Time. That's what I'm going to call you from now on, brothers. Father Time. Keem, who are you? Who? I said I really want to know. Who are you? Who? Big ups time. Copeside Phil says, Craig hasn't brought up Phil once since the interview. It's all Phil who has been nonstop complaining and moaning against Craig and Sidescrollers. Well, he did bring him up one time, monetize the haters, but that was because Phil was talking shit on his show. So you know how to make Craig stop talking about you? Don't talk shit.
Huh?
Pretty simple. NWO says, we reached the point of monetizing our lies. Correct?
Huh?
ES says, looking forward to the bankruptcy fraud arc. That could be our next season. Kevin says, how could this end without Phil begging for forgiveness? Well, we saw it ends with him pulling the plug like a toddler. Your snorts is... No, it's not... I mean, bad is the wrong word. It's just... It's kind of like... how can I put it? Is Craig capitalizing on this, right? It's not bad, though. It's not a bad thing, but is him capitalizing on a situation. It is up to you to decide if that is bad or not. I would call it a bit cringe, right? But it is up to you to make that decision. As Cracker Jack said, I agree. But it's up to you. It's up to everyone to make those decisions about where their money goes. Slew Your Snort says, what if you did this on That Being Said? Steve, how's the audio? Oh, I should do that now. I got to remember it tomorrow. Tomorrow, That Being Said is live. Ball-to-ball coverage tomorrow as well. Fun doesn't stop, man. And I'll tell you right now, Saturday, no show. I'm canceling it. Atlas, sorry, brother. No Friday night show. I need the day off. When in Gout says, Craig looks pissed. And right from the beginning, it had a different taste, didn't it? Had a little bit of a different flavor going in there. By the way, it's not quit fact Atlas. Atlas couldn't be there next week anyway, actually. I remember that. He couldn't be there this weekend anyway, so it's perfect. We don't miss on the tipper at Atlas. Let's see if maybe Atlas tipped today. I don't know. Anime Slayer says, Craig wanted to play Street Fighter 6 with him. Yep. Who's Poppin' says, Craig looking like a reckoning is on the menu, and you were not wrong. Mr. Extravagant says, Craig should just do DX cross chops and leave. That would have been made much easier. Snood would never tip, right? Ryan says, I don't think Craig cares about your chat, Philip. Yeah, that was fucking hilarious. You didn't watch the stream last night, did you, Craig? Yeah, he didn't watch it. Joe Dub says, this is why Craig would eat. This is why Craig, podcast. Big ups, Joe Dub. Free Ice Cream says, figure out what happened? We already know. You lied. Uh-huh. Great fucking point. Joe says, pathological liar takes moral high ground. That is fucking funny, isn't it? Aloha Snack Bar says, this is so damn painful. It's because Phil was filibustering his ass off. You know that. Scott B says, Craig is looking at him like a dad who looks at his kid when they make a really stupid comment, but you just have to be supportive. Some of those burns were so fucking hype. Some of those just set me, hit you across the forehead with some of those fucking burns. Danny DADK with the sleeping. It did pick up, though. David Ortiz with the poppin'. Lyrical Thesis says, I don't reckon, Craig. Craig said that. I don't reckon. Wesley H says, so this is an interview where he tells the guests their own history back to them, and the parts that include him, Phil is going full Hawk Tua. Spit on that thing. She's overhyped, by the way. That's my official stance on Hawk Tua. I know a lot of people are asking about this. Hawk Tua is overrated, and I am not a Hawk Tua supporter. I'm sure she's nice in real life. Her personality seems bubbly and effervescent. Iridescent. Exoskeletal. But she's overrated. That's all I'm going to say. Well, Yap says filibustering. Correct. John McClain says Craig with the shot. And there was more to come. Speaking of Hawk Tua, there was more to come. Because Felix Gertrude. You're a legend, sir. Thank you so much for that. ES says, Phil can't pick up on anything but direct insults. Yep. And when you try to explain shit, he just doesn't listen anyway. So, sound good? Yes. Copeside Phil says, already way better than the Keem interview. Yep, that was clear pretty early. Danny the DK says, Phil, give me Air Raid Lord vibes. Everyone his friend. Yeah. He does have a little bit of an Air Raid Lord interviewing style, let's say. Effervescent. That's what I was looking for. Artist Nerd says, the pools hit differently after the admission. Not gonna lie. Yeah. That's a kind of interesting comment, Artist Nerd. Because it kind of does, right? Like, before it's this meme, you know? It's this meme that we have a funny game. Like, oh, yeah, Phil's pulling. And we all know he's pulling. But, you know, there's still a little bit of a thought in your mind that it might not be real. But now it is real. You know, it's just officially real. Yeah, Dokkan Battle pulls. I'm down. Hell yeah. Pokemon Go pulls. I know, we knew it was very real. But betting it's in, you know what I'm saying? Like, now it's real, you know? It always was real, but now it's real. Real. There's a game, Real Fishing, that's pretty hype. I played. The great soundtrack, Real Fishing soundtrack. That soundtrack I used to use for sleeping many years ago. Real Fishing, big ups. Real Fishing 1, Real Fishing 2, Real Fishing 3. I recommend them all. Real Big Fish, great band. Actually, I don't remember their songs. I didn't really like them, actually. I'm just saying stuff. But they were a band. That's the impression that I get. No, that's something else, isn't it? I never had to knock on wood. That's someone else. I'll stop. Eileen says, it's down from the rafters disaster. Yes. Mighty Boss Tones. Yeah. Incoming toast. A lot to say. We'll talk about tomorrow, brother. I got to get out of here. Not going to rewind the stream, brother. But no, I can't. It's a lot to get through. In the end, Philip pulled the plug after he felt disrespected, even though he was not disrespected, outside of Craig saying, go fuck yourself, which is, once again, the exact same thing Philip said to Craig many times during this year. So, there we go. Anyways. Big ups too. Nervous Noodle says, 16-year veteran on the job. This is so painful. Copeside Phil says, this is a very definition of a disaster stream. Absolutely. Boat Knight says, imagine you needed a tech expert and DSP showed up. Yeah, Craig, it's the filter. Who's a what's it? It's the mesh. Uh-huh. You need to go broadband on this one, Craig. That'll work. Yeah. Hit him with the two-factor authentication. That'll help your mic. Uh-huh. Yeah. You're doing it. Widen the gamma. Uh-huh. Lower the treble, up the gamma.
What a dumb bitch.
Too keen to give a what? Phil is getting bodied by duty. Is that reference to what's happening today? Did something happen? I don't know. Binho says, Phil is going to die alone. What is left of him is pretty. So sad. It's never really his fault. What a lost cause. Uh-huh. Remember, Craig did it to himself, guys? Nervous Noodle says, Prince Derek blocked Craig when he tried. Prince Derek. ES says, giant elephant in the room? Nope, ES, not reading that. You'll never learn, ES. Not reading it. Who's Poppin' says, this is spicy. Very spicy. Mr. Gorehouse says, my man is sailing the high seas. Rockin'. I want to rock. War Dog Leader says, this is Sidescrollers Interval 2.0. Changed my mind. Not wrong. It turned into even... I mean, it's not better than the first one, but it definitely is a great addendum. It's a great addendum. Yes, that's true. Phil was attacking Craig's character. Craig chose to use Philip's own words against him, and Philip pulled the plug because he was losing so clearly. If you're winning, you never have to pull the plug. Never forget that. Iwamoto says, super sides, Stuttering Craig Undertaker, DSP Mankind, Hell in a Cell, 98. And you did send a picture of that. And I do want to give you props for that. So here. I'll leave it up to give you your full props, Iwamoto. Here we go. Here we go. Live meme in the house. Big ups, Iwamoto. Dean Lawliet says, then why did you have some talk to June? Uh-huh. Good point. Darkwolf says, DSP didn't even want the interview announced. Correct, Darkwolf. Remember, he was surprised that Craig announced it and was pissed about that. Hopes I Phil says, base Craig holding Phil accountable. Correct. Nervous Noodle says, Craig is done with his nonsense. And that was clear from the start. Drew Bayou saying, stop the damn match. He's broken in half. Big ups, Drew Bayou. Random Poster says, hello, 911. I'd like to report a murder in progress. Nervous Noodles says, Craig is side-scrolling DSP's hairline. Oh, Jay Wuso. Someone call Butterball because they're missing a glazing machine. Oh, never mind. I found it. I'll send the crew to Renton to grab it. That was the best part, wasn't it, Manticore? No, I think actually it's some better lines earlier. Some more impactful ones. That one hit hard, absolutely. But there was some that hit out of nowhere a little bit harder. But they're all good. Mr. Goral says, people say, no stones to say I. And that's the one thing that's very frustrating, right? You know, the opinion on the internet, Craig, I don't know if you know this, but the opinion on the internet of you is pretty negative, okay? You know? He can't say, I think this, because that requires actual self-confidence of the lowest level, let's say, to share your opinion with another person that's sitting across from you, that is on your show, to hash it out, as Philip said. It's pretty fucking easy to share your opinion with someone in that situation if you have a backbone, right? Neck Fighter says, Piggy keeps saying, I agree with you after being told anything counter to Piggy's point. Did the same thing on the first Sidescrollers interview. Philip, this looks pretty fucking bad. I think you do a W Champions. I don't know how anyone believes you. I agree with you, but let me tell you. Trenton Brown is saying, bro is really 1 for 3 in these interviews. Yeah. And Keem just wanted future content. Let's not forget that. Mr. Ludacris says, DSP got Craig on his show to felt him. Yeah, you see how well that went. Good question, Darksy. Good fucking question. We'll talk about it tomorrow. I promise on that being said, we'll cover it for it. We'll get the full number. NWO News says, we knew you were lying. And say it with me together. The detractors, they were right. Boat Knight says DSP is confused because he thinks he's a good liar. I think that's true. A lot of people have bought a lot of his lines, a lot of his lies for many, many years. So you can see why he thinks that, you know? Mech Fighter says surprise DDoS attack incoming. Oh, that's new lore too. There was a DDoS attack. Oh, Craig is giving closing comments. All right, let's see. Time is it? All right, 55 is fine.
I think that was the most fascinating thing. Taylor says, it's so strange. There's so many people to monitor. Stop it. You guys need to stop. I will say this. That was probably the most amazing thing about it was, and this has been a reoccurring thing with Phil, is his inability to look internally for this whole thing. He doesn't understand like how his inaction in terms of lying led to everything else, right? We knew he was lying. My mind is blown that he admitted to this the day before we spoke.
Yep.
And to be very clear, I very much went on to that. Was I fairly skeptical of him? Yes, because I had heard people saying like, oh, you know, he's going to bring on other people and he's looking to, you know, whatever, trash you. Okay, that's fine, right? But why would he lie? Why would he be so open about that literally the day before?
Yeah, good question.
Grumpy came in and says, would you contact Keem to go on Locale Live and get him get his side of what happened with him and Phil and talk to him about it, or call him on there? I don't know. I do not live in this locale space. I do not. Yeah, right. We have dipped our toes in it once with our interview from Phil. They're their own thing. I'm happy for them. I want Locale Live to be successful because once again, everybody's successful when there's shows like that.
Correct.
But I really, with all due respect to Keem, I think Keem is a brilliant business person. But I don't know. I very, very much doubt going on there would do a whole lot for us, because I contrary to this, I don't like to be around drama. We are not a drama channel. We are not. We talk about things in gaming, entertainment, culture, and this DSP thing has continued to go along the way. And
gotta move on
like I
a
said,
little bit.
I'm pretty much done with it. So Cupside Phil says the detractor read again. Dean Richard says, can I order a monetize the hate shirt?
The detractors, they were right. There we go. A little look into it there. Kosai Phil here says, was Craig not supposed to read the thousands of dollars they got in Super Chats? I guess so. Johnny 5 says, thanks for the stream. Feels impossible as always. Nervous Noodle says, stop, Craig. He's already dead. Moe Slizzlack says, run, piggy, run. ES says, put the weapon down, Craig. Phil is already gone. Mr. Ludacris says, Craig is ready for his apology, please. And that was so incredible. Philip said to Craig, you can't demand an apology. And then later, he would also demand an apology from Craig. Craig, you got to have a comment on this, right? Please. You have to have a comment.
Make it make sense.
He was covering it up. You got the audio. Who's Poppin' says, calm assassin Craig, just like John Wick without guns. Big ups. A Heart Haven says, DSP looks so bad here. So bad. So bad. Matt Ice says, this is literally an NFL team beating down a junior varsity team. Yep. So sad. Copeside Phil says, Craig the only guy who's actually holding Phil accountable and not bending the knee to the king. Great way of putting it. ES says, Phil's beyond felted. Craig is taking the table. Uh-huh. He's got all the chips. Rito the Green says, stall, piggy. Joe Dub says, volume down and power button and share. It's not hard. Uh-huh. Jet Maximum 90 says, I just had breakfast, but I'll enjoy some fresh sizzling bacon as well. Mech Fighter says, Cat gonna pull the plug on the router. Quick run! And Null did too, yeah. Null stood his ground. Null didn't give Philip any space. But remember, he had Kino Casino boys there with him. So they kind of helped Philip not fail that interview, I would say. I think that's a fair stance on that. They helped Philip not drown in that interview, as he would have if they weren't there. As you see here, when Philip is interacting with other adults, he's the small guy at the table, let's just say. He's the immature one that has to pull out the cord when things start going not his way. You know what I mean? David Ortiz says, Mom, Phil fell down the rafters again. Dean Olliott said, who'd you sell the account to? Yeah, could have shared that. Could have just shown any proof of sale, anything. Aid Robinson says, Piggy is done for. BR Joe says, long-winded email? Dave definitely wrote that. Yona Hall says, the best thing is you could tell Craig is the only person in this whole arc that isn't treating Phil as a lolcow sideshow to manipulate and profit from. Very good comment, Yona Hall. Agree, completely. Rito the Green says, so he was mad that they don't believe him, and he has no leg to stand on because he came there with the intention to lie. He's a scummy fuck and deserves no quarter. Copeside Phil says, so Phil wanted Craig to ignore all the super chats. Uh-huh. Urko says, what an utter prick. He's talking about Adam right now.
You had that lined up to say at the end there, Craig. You know, and to be honest, I never had any intention of ending the interview like I did that way at all.
Oh, like a baby, you mean?
Intended. But when he told me to go fuck myself, that was the end of it. Like, literally, he went ahead and said,
something that you said multiple times.
I don't care by doing that. So,
okay.
Oh, well, now here's the thing. You say eye for an eye. I'm literally not going to talk about him again after this stream. This is the point. We're ending it here. We had the interview. We have this decompression. It's done now. So there's no point in ever talking about it ever again after today. I'm done with the man. And moving on. So there will not be another eye for an eye for an eye. He can literally do 400 more monetize the detractor streams. Go for it. Because I don't want my detractor's money, and I don't want my detractor's attention. He can have it all.
Okay, it'll be very humorous when you start tonight's stream with, let's felt the detractors, won't it?
If they all became his biggest fans, so be it. Let them be. I want nothing to do with them. I've only made this apparent for how many years. I want nothing to do with my detractor. So he can have a big pool party. He can invite all my detractors over his house. He could have doody streams, and he could have super crazy in his jacket because he's jacketed. So he's bouncing around in his jacket, and we got demonetized doody over there hanging out in the pool with a Mai Tai. And we can have, you know, Tevin there, and Tevin could stream the whole thing. Tevin could be there streaming the pool party, and they could monetize the whole thing. I don't care. I want nothing to do with any of them.
Right.
Good for you.
Right. Makes sense.
Oh, my goodness. Let's see. I received a $15 tip.
All right. He's back to it. Big ups to Boat Night. He says, the liar wants an apology for disingenuousness. Please apologize for my disingenuousness. Copeside Phil says, KO by Craig. It's over. Throw in the damn towel. Hell yeah. JE5150 says, why didn't you respond immediately? Please respond immediately. Oh, it was Craig that was talking about Adam. My bad. He said if Adam was on Phil's show, he would not live. Oh. Big ups, Benho. Sorry, I clicked the wrong person. My bad. Mech Fighter says, an adult with a family, unlike you-know-who. Uh-huh. Dean in the house says, sure, I lied to your faces for 5 hours and slandered you for a year, but I was going to tell the truth if you read your email. Makes sense? Craig, you want to handle this one again?
Make it make sense.
Thank you. Ryan says 24 hours is a professional standard for email. Uh-huh. And only on business days. NWO News says Kat is totally fucking crying downstairs right now. If she cared enough, I think she would be. The Zhang Do says average real business email response is 24 hours, correct? Copeside Phil says the only one coping and seething here is Phil. Oh, look at the thumbnail. I'll keep that up. That looks beautiful. Aid Robinson says Phil the Felted. Dean says if Craig was going to be fair, why not send him the account information then and there? Great question, Dean. Nugs says, oh, Nugs becomes a member. Big ups, Nugs. Mech Fighter says, Piggy going to do a celebration dance with Kino on the next stream after this. I don't think so. Unless the Kino boys decide to gaslight him more about that, then maybe, but we'll see. Mech Fighter said, every time Piggy crosses his arms, it reminds me of this Project 7 body turn. Nervous Noodles says, Linda dropped him on his head when he was 17. Maybe after combing the hair. Copeside Phil says, oh, so Phil refunded the super chats with mean words. He should have.
She sucks his dick.
Joe Blah in the house, big ups, says, big ups for the coverage throughout the week. Missed the chaos today because of work, but enjoyed the late night streams this week. Big ups, Joe Blah. I'll see you tonight. Well, maybe. I will be there tonight. If you want to come, that's cool too. I shouldn't have put you on blast like that. You better show up, brother. Dean says, name names then. Uh-huh. Name all those names of those people that wanted to do interviews with you. Mech Fighter says, oh my God, Piggy's going to ask for reparations for a missed stream. Uh-huh. Chris Dorner says, nearly 3,000 live viewers. Congrats, King. We're so back. That's insane. Insane. Dark Wolf says, Obi-Wan, you did that to yourself. Yeah. I should have had that ready. You did that to yourself. Nocturnal says, get the white coats. Uh-huh. NWO News says, at least Craig was honest about where the money was going towards. God, that's a good, going back to you did that to yourself. That's what I should have the soundboard. Because, like, for the debunk streams, like, you can push it 1,000 times. You did that to your... Craig, John Rambo stopped liking me because the detractor shared it with him. You did that to yourself. NWO says, at least Craig was honest about where the money was going towards. Correct. Ikiro says, this guy's the biggest apology fetish. Uh-huh. Copeside Phil says, Phil has gone to Craig's throat for the second the interview started. He's barely letting Kings talk. Absolutely. Mech Fighter says, Piggy going to cry to Keem to get Sidescrollers demonetized. Vike says, documentation was needed because he said it wasn't him. Not because he was admitting it was him. That's regarded. Uh-huh. BR Joe says, this is exactly why some of Dave's distractors are so hyper-focused, because he's incredibly nitpicky in his arguments. Uh-huh. That's why we're so hyper-focused. I've not forgot about any family. I still have 9 minutes, so I have to get out the door, my friend. That's why I'm picking up the pace, though. Aid Robertson says, the king is dead. Long live the king. King Craig. RS Nerd says, we are acking. Lunar Guardian says, disaster for Phil. The Camping Dutchman says, a child. A literal child. A child. Mech Fighter says, Phil's Tire Charity. I'm down with that charity. Hell yeah. Ikiro says, the guy's legit insane. Mech Fighter says, this is basically a struggle session for Piggy. Yeah, he was in deep water and had trouble swimming out. So you know what he decided to do is to pull the cork out of the tub. You know what I'm saying? When you can't swim anymore, you just pull the cork out of the tub, so then the water goes out, and then you're safe again. Because you didn't have the strength to swim on yourself. NWO says, Barbara Walters is doing backflips in her grave. Correct. Copeside Phil said, Craig said, I'm sorry, and Phil's like, fuck you, Craig. ES says, okay, now I believe this is a character. You sure, ES? Nervous Noodle says, this is why DSP is beyond hope. He can't be saved. Correct. Boat Knight says, I'm livid. This piece of trash is high-roading anyone. Correct. Joe Dub says, Phil needs all the psychiatric help. Yeah, he needs a friend. Let's start with a single friend. You know what I mean? BR Joe says, Crag isn't Barbara Walters and Dave ain't prominent. Good point. A Hardhaven says, yes, because the media just loves Trump. No hate.
Thanks for the membership.
I know. To choose that That to choose that person as an example was interesting, wasn't it? Once again, Craig extends his hand. Once again, Phil buries him deeper. Correct, Alejandro. Big ups. Derp Level Critical says he's so high on his own farts at the moment. Correct. Stray Bean says Craig cheating on Phil. This is the real game award. Yes, the real game awards. We saw it today. Yes, it's true, says Craig with the RKO from out of nowhere. A Hard Haven says, Phil is literally crying upstairs right now. Uh-huh. RS Nerd says, celebrate good times. Come on. It's a celebration. I will pull some Hogans. Come on. It was Jeff Hardy. All right, Jay Wuso says, ALT, do you need a moment and a cigarette? Yeah, I did. Silver Cyborg says, my goodness, I've eaten so well this week and I have detractor gout. Copeside Phil says, Craig snapped at the end. He couldn't take any more of Phil's lying and BS. I can't believe out of Kino Casino, Base Craig had the best interview and held Phil accountable and didn't bend the knee. Yep. Native Mamba says, never argue with an idiot. They will drag you down to their level and beat you with experience. Mark Twain. Hell yeah. I'm copying that for Twitter, I think. Big ups, Native Mamba. I will mercilessly steal that. Volveran says, holy shit, he really doesn't get it. No, he doesn't. Movie Sign said, Craig is just wasting his time at this point. Yep. That's why he kind of snapped, I think. He's like, all right, fuck this. You're not getting what I'm saying, so what's the point of this? Nervous Noodle says, best season ever. Correct. Mech Fighter says, this is a struggle session. Very sad. Correct. Kevin says, Craig is the GOAT. Wesley H says, this is just mental illness incarnate. Mech Fighter says, play the music. End this. Copeside Phil says, of course Phil has to get his last word in. Uh-huh. Matthew says, wow, what a child. Mech Fighter says, F to spit. Alejandro says, I'm sorry, but after this, I can only hope all things bad in life happen to Phil and only Phil. Joe Max says, coward. Kalakaku says, this was a more historic moment than the interview. We'll see tomorrow. Give it at 24 hours. Then we'll be able to tell. Scrappy says, DSP's first real conversation with an adult, and you see how it ended with a rage quit. Similar to a lot of games he's played, huh? NWO News says, holy fucking felting. Copeside Phil says, what a coward. Really mature adult thing to do. Absolutely. Real businessman, by the way. He's a business degree. King Be Cruel says, Phil was definitely the sore loser kid that turned off the SNES when he was losing and told his friends that they had to go home. Uh-huh. Correct, King Be Cruel. King Be Bitch. Nervous Noodle says, my 5-year-old behaves better than this. Oh my God. Oink Oink Ack Ack says, you should invite Craig now. We had him on once before, but we'll see. 5 minutes left on the clock here. Copeside Phil says, Sidescrollers gets 3,000 viewers every day. Phil barely gets 500 views, but he's not talking about the drama. But yes, Craig needs Phil for views. I know. Another ridiculous assumption, because Phil thinks he's on top of the world. Excuse me, on top of the internet. And he thinks he's going to get he gets 10,000 live views every time. Free Ice Cream says, I need a cigarette, a shower, and a nap after that. Me too. Keel says, Phil is the kid who hits the reset button on the console when he's losing. Absolutely. Urko says, Craig fully Anton Chigger. That probably was, I don't know. I'm not going to take that bait, I think. Maybe that's something I don't know, though. Eric, I appreciate it nonetheless. Anton something. I don't want to say a word. I don't want to say a bad word. Motivation exceeds me, says 2024 has been a wild year. Correct. Rogelia Soria says he literally took his ball home. Correct. Binho says, I wish Adam was here. Press X to bury Phil. Mechfighter says F to spit and dislike Piggy more. Who's Puppet says 90-minute rant incoming. Yeah, it's happening right now. 94 Bad Boy Boogie says, that was amazing. Phil is a literal child. Thesis with the 50. Thanks so much, Thesis. Couldn't have gone better. For us, yes. Copeside Phil says, go F yourself, Craig, but I don't want to be mean. Craig, handle this, please.
Make it make sense.
Scrappy says, look up the definition of cordial. Uh-huh. ES says, Jasper is less of a cat than Phil. Wow, this is sad. Waffle Bunny says, damn, miss it, gonna catch it up on demand. Big ups, Waffle Bunny. Salute Your Snort says, if you have time, my song is up. If not, another time. Big up, Salute Your Snort. I'll do it tonight. I promise. Drew Baby 299 says, he wants to forget all that shit he talked about. Uh-huh. Chill Pill Pill says, new to the tractor scene, and man, I came at the best time. Yes, you did. Derp Level Critical says, Clippers, hold the line. We got to support family. Colombian Detractor says, for your sleeping pills fun, get a good rest, LT. You deserve it. DSP is a terrible human being. Big ups, brother. He rage quit this like he rage quit Persona. Poisonous Arrow. Big ups. Keenan Douglas says, joins a member. Big ups. Cutie the Kid 07 says, donate this to ALT, to charity ALT. Big ups, everyone. I will donate this to the Lost Tires Fund in Renton. Twin says, this guy, he legitimately needs help. His thinking is so warped and he's so delusional. Unbelievable. Big ups, Twins. Shades Gucci says, gonna lose it. Phil really pearl clutching. Aid Roberts says, what a liar. Big ups, Aid. OG Superboss says, Phil attacked Craig's character. He doesn't understand what that means to Craig because Phil's character has no value to himself. Superboss, laying it down. Boat Knight says, this guy better pray this second win lasts forever. Uh-huh. Sanchini with the membership. Punta Sazagin says, DSP isn't used to the man sticking up for himself. Yep. Nervous Noodle says, Craig was beyond respectful. He built 99% of the bridge and wanted Phil to add the remaining 1%. DSP once again shit all over the bridge. Uh-huh. Copeside Phil saying, Phil is treating Craig how he treats detractors. Correct? Kenneth Douglas says, oh my lord, Craig destroyed Phil. Phil is such a child and needs to grow up. He couldn't get the felt, so he plugs. Laughing my ass off. Pathetic crybaby. Big ups, Kenneth. War Dog Leader says, he really thinks he is winning against detractors. He really does. He really does. Sanchini said, DSP wants DM timed reply with an email. It's absurd. That's what he wanted. Tech Enthusiast says, why does Sidescrollers not believing him matter if he lied anyway? Almost he's more bothered about the money than they made their... It's almost that he's more bothered about the money they made than their opinion. Correct. U.S. Army 77 says, Phil was the only one to put a noose around his neck. ES says, do both at the same time. That's what we did for a while. Danny DK says, ALT, you got to get Craig back on the show. It's an option. Dominic says, thank you for the restream. Big ups, Dominic. Loa Snack Bar says, Phil really outdid himself on this one. We ain't making it out of the snort fort with... we ain't making it out of the snort fort with this one, boys. God damn it. LR says, that guest was Arturo Sanchez, who is currently excommunicated from the SGC for being a scammer himself. Imagine a scammer not wanting to look even worse by being next to DSP. That is telling. Big ups, LR. Mint says, how can a man be so delusional? It's insane. Daz Anguido says, shout out to LT for all these great restreams. Big ups, sir. You're a legend. Dean Lawliet says, everyone is wrong but Ree. Alex B with the membership. Cigarian says, this season has been crazy. I can't wait to see what the writers come up with next. We'll see tonight. Joe says, pathological liar tries to take the moral high ground. And I think I started reading at that point. Big ups, Joe. You're a legend. Nonetheless. Felix with the membership. Binho says, Phil's going to die alone. What is left for his pity? I read that one. Yep. Big ups, Binho. You're a legend. What a lost cause, Binho says. Kevin says, I did love what he said. I don't remember Phil. That was funny. Binho says, imagine if Adam was there. Protect X to cook the pig. Johnny 5 says, thanks for the and I did read all these, I believe. Old Yeller says, missed the interview. Quick summary for your boy. Philip attacked Craig's character. Craig didn't like that and said, I'm not apologizing for things I don't need to apologize for. I did nothing wrong. Philip pushed back even more, attacking Craig's character. Craig said, go fuck yourself, similar to what Philip has said himself many times. And then Philip pulled the plug rather than use his own words. That is the long and short of it. Only Half Korean says, for DSP, it's not the principle, it's the money. Correct. And DSP Flagging, big up, sir, says, I know you are having to go, but had to say this. DSP is more than happy to collect info on others and keep it in his back pocket. He never says he doesn't read it, just like how he saved the info from doxing others. So he's no better than Kiwi Farms 2. Also, Craig snapped on him, saying he didn't respect him. Correct. Big ups, DSP Flaggett. You are a legend. That is it. I'll see you tonight. Let me tell you, you were here. We were all here together. And we had a great fucking time. And we'll never forget this moment. Because we are the legends. We are the dreamers. And we are family. See you tonight, everybody. Bye.